little bit of rain this morning has resulted in a sloppy track here at Aqueduct. The rain has tapered off, but the so-called damage has been done, as it's a wet day here at Aqueduct in South Ozone Park. Weather is beautiful down at Hot Springs, though, as we will be bringing you plenty of action down from Oaklawn Park. The last four here, the Pick 6 carryover is already underway. Happy to be joined by Paul Verderosa. I'm Andy Serling, and of course the team. Maggie Wolfendale is back, thankfully. We missed her yesterday, yes. And the Mig and Meg show down at Oaklawn Park is in full force. Lots of action on today's card.
Yeah, so far so good as well. Even with the sloppy steel track, we're seeing some good action out there. Pick 6 with the carryover is on its way and getting itself done. So looking forward to some good racing for the last four races that we were at Aqueduct, and even better down at Oaklawn too.
Yep, as I said, we have four races left to go here. Races 5 through 8 are left on today's card. And, of course, today's races are brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. We said races 5 through 8 here. Cross Country Pick 5 starts in our 7th race, which includes 2 races here and 3 down at Oaklawn Park. They have a carryover in their Classic 6, just a little bit over our carryover, 15,000 and change. Their feature, the Down the Dusty Road, that'll be in the Cross Country Pick 5, and looks like a bit of a free square with the heavy favorite, likely 1-9, I would think, Haul and Ice in the Down the Dusty Road. Much more on that as the show continues, as we will be heading down to Oaklawn very, very soon. But want to remind people, if you're not a member of Naira Bets, no better time than the present. Use the promo code BONUS200 and we'll match the $200 of your initial deposit. Play any track, anywhere, anytime through Naira Bets. Well, we're a little bit over a dozen minutes to go here at Aqueduct for our 5th race. We'll be getting much more from that. Maggie is downstairs, where hopefully the rain has stopped, but a much nicer day down at Oaklawn Park. Let's head down there right now to Megan Burgess and Richard Bigliori.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. And it is a nice day, a little cooler than yesterday, a little breezy, but we're right on top of post time for race number 4 at Oaklawn Park, $50,000 claimers, and I think a real competitive group.
This was so tough, especially for the levels, some class droppers, some taking a step back up, but very competitive with Lunar Module coming back off of a near defeat to Uncash. But Luisella, the owner of Oaklawn Park, also with an entrant here with the trainer Ron Moquette. So tough field, Richie, and a really good way to start 50 Cent Pick 4 as we kick that off here in race number 4. We'll go through race number 7, and we also have over $15,000 carryover in that Classics Pick 6.
Yeah, and I agree with Andy when he said Haul and Ice. She kind of looks like a free bingo square to me in the Down the Dusty Road. But Megan, you like the one here, Lunar Module. And listen, he makes a lot of sense on paper. I like what I've seen from him in the warm-up, albeit on TV.
I really liked him last out. He was right there late, almost edging out a really nice horse in Uncashed, who came back to win an allowance race after that effort. Ran forth again here at Oaklawn last weekend, I believe. But I'm hoping Louis can use his rail draw, has that inside position to be more tactically placed. I feel like last time he kind of bothered a bit, shuffled back a bit there at the start, but came on really well late. Again, tough. I honestly think this is a little bit of a class relief, given obviously it's a $50,000 claimer and last out was a starter 25. So I think that he is incredibly interesting and does have a bit more tactical ability than what it might seem on paper.
And in a race that doesn't appear to have a tremendous amount of speed signed on, so getting his position going forward will be critical. The 6, good as I once was. I find myself saying that more and more as I've gotten older. I watch some younger riders. As good as I once was. He seems to make a lot of sense as well.
Mr. Consistent, too. 4 tries here at Oaklawn Park, a win. 2 of those performances came on the board. Joel Rosario not aboard. Christian Torres taking the mount here, who's been absolutely on fire. And as I mentioned, he just always shows up with a strong run, getting the best of actually my top selection, who's going favored as they each vie for it in Lunar Module last time out at Churchill Downs.
Now, I do think the speed is going to come from the 7 Sinner Sin, but we were just getting a report that the rider Ramon Vasquez, who's riding in very good form, was not aboard in this moment. We're going to find out. I mean, it could be as simple as a saddle adjustment, but we'll find out. Hopefully, nothing's amiss there.
He was down in the paddock standing alongside Luisella and Ron Moquette, so we'll see how this kind of takes shape. As we also saw the rider of the 5 there, Mollystown, David Cabrera, also got off of his
the
mount.
whole field now.
I believe everybody's off.
So obviously something's going on. There'll be a delay probably. Maybe somebody had the wrong equipment. we will try to get to the bottom of why in a moment. Let's head back to Aqueduct, guys, and see if we can get some answers. But there will be a delay at the start of race 4 here at Oaklawn.
Thanks, Richie, and also want to let people know that while they just listed the 5 as being scratched in race number 5, the 5 is not scratched, but is running for purse money only. For more on that and others, let's head down to Maggie.
Thanks, Andy. Yes, with that situation with number 5, Frankie Coffee Cake, he is wearing what is called a spider bar shoe. Now, it's not a straight bar across. It's actually kind of looks like a shoe that's divided into 3 sections with that kind of pad in between that and the shoe. But because that was not declared at entry time, that's why he is going to run for purse money only. Obviously here in New York, we need to give all the information possibly we can and available to the bettors, and because that was not listed on the PPs, Andy, he will run for purse money only.
I hear what Maggie's saying. It's not a decision made by NYRA, so people understand, because this horse was listed as a bar shoe on in the changes, information that was given out to the public. So for me, I can understand why people might be frustrated, because I have no idea why information that was given out to the public necessitates this horse running for purse money only.
I can tell you I'm
to me,
frustrated.
This is over. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, as a horse that I picked on top as well, and a horse that figured very prominently in this race. And it's not like, at least from my experience, you may have a different experience, that we list different kinds of bar shoes in our. It's just listed as a change of saying 1 bar shoe on or 2 bar shoes.
Once again, the change was given out with the changes this morning. Was given out by the announcer. We mentioned it on the earlier show. The information was available to the public. Why this is happening, I do not understand. It makes no sense. And it seems to me that the public is not, in fact, being protected. They're being punished. But so be it. And if you like other horses, obviously you're going to get a much shorter price in this race. And currently the one who I had picked originally is now 8-5 and not bettable, in my opinion, at that price.
I agree, and I fall into him as well now. And your hope is obviously that he just sets sail from the rail and tries and wires this group, because you're assuming that's his best way of winning in this spot, but he's not appealing now at 8-5.
Let's get more from Maggie.
Yeah, like I said, because it's not that traditional bar shoe is why, unfortunately, it's in a way incorrect late information is why we see Frankie Coffee Cake running for purse money only. As we'll take a look here at the horse who will be a prohibitive favorite come post time in number 1, Matoli Game, a horse whom looked like he could be quick, but definitely didn't act like that in the paddock. He was very laid back upon debut, and also just gave off the appearance of probably needing a start, which is kind of typical for Chris Englehart's horses. They carry good condition, and a lot of times they're not cranked up to win first time out. Well, he has benefited greatly from the physical perspective, having that race under his belt, and he's just a little bit more aggressive too, which I like to see for a horse that obviously, in watching his last race, you could see that he is naturally fast, so hopefully he can use that to his advantage from that inside post. Now, a wild card is the horse on the other end of the starting gate in number 7, Bold Love, who will try the dirt for this first time. Son of Bolt Doro. The dam, she was unraced. All other siblings, well, they haven't been particularly great, have won on the dirt. So maybe it is a negative sign that they went immediately to the turf with this horse and stayed there after not running particularly well throughout. Look, he has improved, though, maybe from the overall perspective from what I saw from him last time. He was really wound up that day, and while he is forward here, he's just a lot more focused. It's more focused energy, and I always feel as though that translates better to the racetrack than that distracted, screaming, and wound up type of demeanor that you sometimes observe here. Physically, he looks great, and while maybe he is a little bit more inclined for the turf, it's not like he's overwhelmingly turf meant looking at his foot and his physical makeup. Andy?
Thanks a lot, Maggie. Listen, I have to be scared of the 7 in this race. Everybody could see in the second race today how much the winner of that race had improved, moving to Chad Summers' barn. It's a barn that has significantly improved their statistics over the last 12 to 18 months, and it just seems to me that you have to be scared of just about every horse they enter.
Yeah, and it seems like no matter where the placement it is of these horses, they are running well. So it's something to definitely take into consideration, especially when you look at the stats, as you said, that have now just exponentially went up.
To Bolt Toro, so the pedigree suggests that, I mean, it's not a particularly good pedigree all the way around, but it's not a particularly strong field all the way around, and the horse is getting bad. It's a very hard barn to just leave out.
Yeah, and, you know, when you kind of look at him too, he's kind of a little bit more suited to kind of maybe some sprinting and some dirt as opposed to routing that they tried with him on the turf, because he was getting better as well. As a turf horse, his numbers were going up and his figures were getting better as well. So maybe he's just an improved horse now.
Well, he's never really done any running, but, you know, he doesn't have to do a lot of running to be competitive here. We'll see if he handles the wet track today as we head back to Oaklawn, where hopefully they'll get things moving.
Yeah, Andy, the delay was that Sinner's Sin needed to go back to the paddock for a shoe repair, so they took all the riders off their horses so they didn't have to carry their weight, and one horse didn't have their weight on. And we just saw Francisco had a leap up there without the benefit of a leg up. Not an easy thing to do. But Sinner's Sin and the whole group has actually acted very good. These are a bunch of tough old pros, so the delay didn't seem to upset anybody, Megan.
No, especially Sinner's Sin being a speed commodity. Oftentimes they can get pretty riled up. He was a little bit on his toes and sharp the last time I saw him back in December, but he handled, from what we could see of the paddock footage of him getting that shoe repair, gracefully. Everybody, calm actors, as you mentioned. These are older horses that have done this, been around the block. But Sinner's Sin has a real shot here as the controlling speed. Hopefully nothing barring as far as obviously getting a shoe repair can sometimes, you know, is it a late change that's unexpected and spontaneous?
Yeah, well, exactly. I think it affects younger horses, less experienced horses more than it would, you know, these kind of seasoned older veterans, if you will, but the field is starting to load up. I think there's a potential here for Sinner's Sin to lead them from gate to wire, just because I don't see anybody with his kind of speed, Megan.
Not a lot of speed at all in this group. We'll see if he can. Maybe the number 8 Caramel Chip for the Cantor Mossies might wake up with blinkers on.
Well, the horses are loading up very kindly and in good order here, so we're going to send it up to Matt Dinneman for the call of the delayed race 4.
Lundberg coming up to the outside. Caramel Chip rounds out the field. They've loaded Sinner's Sin and Caramel Chip rounding out the group. We're ready to go. And we're off. Molly's Town away a little bit slowly. Lunar Module sent for speed as a share of the leader. With Sinner's Sin, good as I once was in the line, good as I once was. Lunar Module down on the inside, moving forward. Sinner's Sin easing off the pace. Lundberg is between horses, firing forward. 3 across the track. Now make it 4 as Sinner's Sin's going to get up there. So it's Lunar Module, Lundberg between horses. Good as I once was, 3 wide. Sinner's Sin on the far outside. Now Lunar Module is off the pace. He's taken back to 4th while aggressively ridden going into the far turn. Farm team to his outside now. Gap of 2 to Molly's Town and Caramel Chip under a ride at the back. Around the far turn. Good as I once was. Narrow lead. Sinner's Sin right there for the fight. And Lundberg is down on the inside of him as they come to the top of the lane. Lunar Module trying to re-rally. Farm team on the far outside. Swings wide as they come off the turn. Good as I once was. Sinner's Sin down the lane together. Good as I once was. Sinner's Sin stride for stride. Lunar Module trying to pick him up in 3rd. Furlong to go. Sinner's Sin nose in front. Good as I once was, coming back at him. Good as I once was, Sinner's Sin. Good as I once was, head in front. Good as I once was, out finishes Sinner's Sin. Lunar Module was 3rd. Caramel Chip 4th.
I have a belief that there's steam coming out of the Mig's ears right now. It must have been painful for him watching that race as the clear speed Sinner's Sin was shockingly rated off a slow pace. It allowed Good as I Once Was to dictate inside of him and probably helped him get brave and get the win.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We see it all the time. You got to be aggressive, and the aggressive ride actually won the race where the passive one just did not work out for whatever reason.
Very strange decision. Yeah. I'm glad I didn't bet the 7. I'd be mad as well. And We both have the 1 here at 8-5, and I just have nothing to say. I feel like any value's gone. If you wanted to bet against the 5, you like the 5. I like the 1, but at 8-5, I'm not playing here.
Yeah, it's hard to now take him at this price, and we'll see what happens now. And he should be speed as long as he breaks on the inside. We'll see if he can carry it all the way. Took
He
a lot
was
of
the
money in the
speed
debut
regardless.
too. Yeah,
You know,
and
the 5 scratch doesn't affect the race. Maybe the 4
but it
puts some
affects
pressure
the
on
value,
him.
and that's the whole point.
Of course,
Yeah,
right? Absolutely.
You know, and that's the problem with it now. But yeah, for me, I guess, you know, now we'll just hope he just can carry his speed like he did the last time for even longer. He took money in that debut race too, so fought it out for quite a while before he gave way.
And keep in mind, the 5 is still in the race. It's just running for purse money only. I thought the 1 ran well, was towards the rail before drifting the 2 path on a day. The rail was not the best place to be. So I thought the 2 ran well. He took a lot of money first time out, and I took him to lead this field on a merry chase. But I am scared of the 7, who's taken a lot of money. We'll see what he does. And 2 Ducks, who I thought had the best trip of everybody last time out.
Yeah, it definitely did, and you just wonder, you know, again, he's going to have to deal with the 1 at some point, so we'll see how that turns out for him because he's probably going to be on the chase.
Only a couple left to load. Let's get the call from Chris Griffin.
In this 5th race, Trapping Hands. Bold Love, last to load. Bold Love, stepping forward, going in, all set. And they're off. Waiting on a sunny day, right to the front, and Matoli Gain is in that early mix too, is a close-up second. Just behind them, that's 2 Ducks. Center of the racetrack, it's Bold Love. Towards the back end of the field is Trapping Hands. The leader, Matoli Gain, with a neck advantage. Waiting on a sunny day, a stalking second. Down at the rail, that's 2 Ducks, is now a shared third with Bold Love. And they hook up early and go at it, 22.71. Pumped up opening quarter. Matoli Gain is trying to edge away, but Waiting on a Sunny Day is back for more. Bold Love is right there in third. Starts to make up some ground, center of the racetrack, and losing ground quickly was 2 Ducks. Far back is Trapping Hands with purse money only, the 5. They reach the top of the stretch, and Matoli Gain is the leader. Dying to the outside, it's Waiting on a Sunny Day, pushing on by now, puts a neck advantage, but Bold Love was settled just off of them and sprints clear. Bold Love has a furlong left to go, is up by a full length. It's Bold Love, now up by a length and a half, and inside the final 16th. Another win for Chad Summers, Luis Rivera Jr. Bold Love won it. Bold Love over Waiting on a Sunny Day, then came a photo. 2 Ducks with Matoli Gain in 1 minute 12.51 seconds.
Well, we warned you before the race. Beware of horses out of this barn, as this horse, I don't know how much she improved or he improved on the dirt, but he got the job done today, something he did not do on the other surface.
Yeah, and got a perfect trip and ride as well behind the pace that developed between the 1 and the 4 early. The 1 then established, and then the 4 attacked again going into the turn, as you can see. But good trip. Luis Rivera kept this horse out in the clear and was able to run these 2 down and draw off late when it counted. Waiting on a Sunday, I thought ran well with the blinkers off, was able to get that first jump on Matoli Gain, who just gave way again.
Yeah, the 1 had absolutely nothing. Maybe right down the inside, not the very best place to be, but that horse had absolutely nothing here, but nobody was beating this winner, who won in an absolute gallop. Perfect position from post 7, just sat the easy trip and proved to be much the best.
Yeah, I don't know if it was, I think it was more trip than just improvement, to be honest, in this spot, but the barn's winning, and like I said, stats just keep getting padded.
Yep. Gets it done in the 5. I guess if you like the 5, you were saved by the horse running for purse money only.
Yes.
You liked any of the others, you took the worst of it. We'll come back and we'll be talking a little Gotham later on the show, and Amelia Green has the very impressive debut winner, Easy Decision, coming back on relatively short rest. Very impressive, breaking his maiden first time out, Easy Decision.
Easygoer now gets the lead and goes clear by 2. Diamond Donnie is second by 3. Then Expensive Decision and Texian Cantrell Road has been eased. They pass 16th pole. Easygoer has the lead.
Cannot believe this was 37 years ago. I remember being here. The track was playing extremely quickly that day, as I think he set a track record, at least was very, very close. But he was a very special horse and a hugely popular horse in New York as well.
You know, watching a lot of his replays, the one thing that kind of stands out is it looks like that he just could do anything. You know, he didn't necessarily have to be on the lead, but if he wanted it, he would take it in a situation.
Was he ever on the lead in his entire career?
I think he was, when I looked through some charts. I think he was, like, early. I'm just saying, like, he was able to cruise up and take the lead. He didn't necessarily need it, but he was a very powerful-looking horse. You know, it just seemed like you could put him anywhere, and he would be able to run well.
He was an incredible racehorse, incredibly talented. And it took a horse, the Callan of Sunday Silence, who was a tremendous horse in his own right, to be able to beat him. If it wasn't for Sunday Silence, he'd have won the Triple Crown and done just about everything you could do as a racehorse. He was a tremendous horse. And I remember almost feeling like I wanted to cry when he didn't win the Met Mile. And he was a horse that had a gigantic ankle. And I think that Shug never got the credit he deserved for just keeping him sound as long as he did and dancing every dance. Remarkable racehorse.
Yeah, he was definitely a horse of the people from everything that I have read and that I have seen about him, because obviously it was a little before my time being here as far as Easygoer goes, but those are horses you love, right? Because they're dancing every dance and they're able to stay as sound as possible even with some issues that they had, and everybody just loves seeing them.
Yeah, he last career start was in the Suburban. He ran a big race that day, winning at Belmont, and he unfortunately was retired after there, and he died just a few years later. I saw him at Claiborne in '94. I think he died shortly thereafter. But yeah, he was about as popular a horse as you could ever remember in New York. And you know, it's been very painful for people that were fans of his to admit that he had a significant rival in Sunday Silence. We wanted to say he was lucky, but he wasn't lucky. He was a tremendous horse in himself, and that was a great rivalry between those two horses. But Sunday Silence had more speed, and he was able to put himself in position, so he had incredible talent as well, but his speed gave him an edge over Easygoer. And though a lot of us wish the Angel Cordero had ridden Easygoer, he might have been made a little bit closer, but that's a discussion for another time. Gotham's coming up a fun race here and could be a very wide open race as we get closer to it. And you know, they're coming back on very short rest as Easy Decision finally made a belated debut on just February 11th. Going to be coming back in theory on the 28th, to 17 days later. But I got to tell you, this horse was super impressive, and he was actually outside against the gold rail, and it didn't matter.
No, and when he just got turned loose and was able to get 3 wide and be able to just roll, I mean, his stride just picked up, and he just took off and just inhaled the 2 front runners, and he drew off, and he looked professional doing it. Didn't drift around, he didn't bounce around. It was a straight course basically to the wire, and he was powerful to the wire after that trip. So little late bloomer possibly, and it's good to take a chance now. You know, it's still early enough to take that chance to see what you have in these races.
It's owners' decisions to make this move to, you know, listen, people make different decisions. He's a very much sort of a little bit late to be rushing to try to get to the Derby, but you know, you're entitled to do what you want. His horse was training very well in Saratoga last summer with Todd Pletcher. Amelia took over the training, and he obviously ran extremely well. I think he got a 77 buyer, but this is going to be a very stern test for him in just his second start, 17 days after a maiden win going a mile. We'll see how he does.
Yeah, and Amelia Green's been hitting at all cylinders again this year, doing well. 27 starts, 7 wins in 10 seconds. Our barn's going well.
Well, if Napoleon Solo should come for this race, he may not be pleased with the presence of Dirty Rich.
Yeah.
Dirty Rich is not good enough to win this race in all likelihood, and it should be noted, while he's impressive in the race we show in December, he came back behind obligation and got absolutely drilled. But they're going to take a shot, stretch him out to a mile. He certainly has a lot of speed.
That's the key to him, right? You know, in this race we're looking at, he was able to get to the lead and he just didn't look back. Things were a little bit tougher for him in the Renaissance when he kind of dueled it out and then kind of just stopped. So maybe stretching him out to a mile, he could stretch his legs a little bit longer. I'm a little bit suspect of him doing that, but we'll see what he can do. Stretching out coming here off an effort that was a little bit subpar.
Well, he's going to interject some speed into the Gotham. There's no
changes
doubt
the
about
way it
that.
runs.
Not necessarily whether or not he's a factor. Still a little bit early. Race will be drawn on Sunday, being run next Saturday. Looking forward to that. I always feel like the Gotham, which used to be run in early April, still run. This is the earliest. I don't think we've ever run in February, but it still always feels to me like means we're getting closer and closer to spring.
Yeah.
A lot of stakes next week, and we've got the John Battaglia, which is the prep for the Jeff Ruby Stakes at Turfway. That's this weekend. Next weekend, the Gotham and Fountain of Youth, followed on Sunday by the Rebel, and then the next weekend, the San Felipe and the Tampa Bay Derby. And the Tampa Bay Derby, I believe, is going to be the second start for that impressive Chad Brown maiden breaker in his debut. It's a half to Sandman, whose name I completely forget.
Yeah, I can't think of the name there at this moment. We're a great set right now up there.
Very impressive performance.
Yeah, I know. Ran well, too. So there's a lot of horses right now, and we talked about it yesterday, on the show, that when you get past the Paladins and the Renegades and nearly, there's some horses that can definitely start to step up their game and improve, and there's no runaway standout right now in February. I think you'd agree. There's really not somebody you're hanging your hat on right now. So there's still a lot of room for improvement, a lot of room to grow, still a couple of months away. We say it's 2 months away, but it'll be here soon. But we'll sort it out as we get closer, as the races get a little bit more heated.
Canaletto is the name of the Chad Brown runner, the half to Sandman. He's the opposite of Sandman. He has speed, and he's not gray. So that may bode well for him as we head to the winner's circle at Aqueduct for race number 5. And a very, very easy win for the number 7, Bold Love.
Yeah, tripped out nicely behind the speed of the 1 and the 4, and was able to turn loose for connections that are just doing extremely well. And I'm not sure if it's going to be a function of Tripp, or he just took to the track well and finally ran a bit. When you take it apart, I'm just not sure how I'm going to look at this race going forward for him.
Well, in all likelihood, he'll probably face a tougher field next time he runs. Race number 6, heavy favorite to number 3, Kakito, who, looking at the double, probably going to be right in the range of even money or less in this race as he squares off against Patty Cakes and My First Love down on the rail. They look like the main players in race number 6, but Bold Love paid $6.14 to win and finished up a pick 5. They paid $187.27 for 50 cents. Here once again, that field for the 6, where Coquito, the number 3, is now and will be a heavy favorite.
Yeah, going out for Linda Rice here. And when you just pick apart what this horse has done, only 2 bad races were just against better horses lately, and just had some gate trouble in both those races. 3rd time now with Linda and the connections with winning moves. So 6-5 on probably what's going to be an even money shot.
We'll head down to Oaklawn for some talk on race number 5.
Yeah, but first let's clean up race 4, as it was Good As I Once Was, a very game effort. Was able to control the race. Christian Torres aboard. Joel Rosario off his mounts again. Per his agent, Ron Anderson, not feeling well, but this was a very game effort over Sinner Sin.
Yeah, that wasn't necessarily necessarily fast-paced, as Andy had mentioned earlier, but it was a contested one up front. The speed held. He held on against the late charge of the number 7, Sinner Sin, Lunar Module. Just always seemingly that horse that's right there, that late kind of acceleration to get past his foes, maybe what he's missing. But Good As I Once Was is as good as he once was as a 7-year-old.
Yeah, very game effort, and he got the right ride from Christian Torres to hold that position going forward. So it was Good As I Once Was at 9:20 over Sinner Sin. Lunar Module was 3rd with kind of an even, steady run. We'll head now to the field for the 5th race. We're going a mile and a 16th with maiden claimers here. Would you have a little interest in, Megan?
I am interested in the number 2, Mr. J, not taking a whole lot of money off of that morning line. Luis Saez at climbing aboard for Ron Moquette. But compared to some of the maiden fields, the maiden claiming fields we've seen, I thought this was a pretty good one.
It really was. And interesting, we made a connection here. Rainbow Song, the dam of the 2-horse Mr. J, won a couple races on her at Hollywood Park, and she is the dam of El Grande O. So there's a little pedigree here as well.
Yeah, especially when you're dealing with a horse in for the $24,000 tag. And what interests me about this horse is last time out, getting this 8.5 furlong distance for the first time on the stretch out in distance, this horse kind of rushed up into things and faded. I'm hoping potentially he can settle into himself more. It's encouraging they didn't cut him straight back. And I think that, Ron Moquette kind of getting into a better rhythm as time goes on in this meet.
Yeah, it feels like Ron's horses are starting to run well. Sinner Sin just ran very well, competitive. So it's good to see the barn kind of heating up potentially a little bit. Also picks up Louis Saez, never a bad thing. Well, we're going to head to a break and about 15 minutes to post for race number 5, and that'll be the start of the Class 6.
$1,600,000, thank you.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
First again and again and again. First mission, 4 graded stakes. He made finishing first his mission, and all with big buyers. Now he's a Darley stallion, and breeders are falling in love with him. Here's fabled horseman John Williams.
First mission is an eyeful. He's beautifully balanced, and I love the way he uses himself as he moves.
Come to see First Mission and tell us your first impression. Consider it your mission.
New York breds. Race them.
Respect them.
Bet them.
Respect them.
Breed them.
Respect them.
Buy them.
Respect them.
Train them for a second career.
Respect them.
Join us in respecting thoroughbreds at every stage of life. Learn more at nybreds.com.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Play through Naira Bets. Horses should be in the paddock for race number 6 here, where Coquito, Paul, is a heavy favorite.
And I guess just based on the body of work, this horse was going to end up ultimately going off favored in this spot. You take a look at this horse, and honestly, with the exception of a couple of races down the lines, this horse has been probably one of the most consistent horses in this field just based on performance alone. And the only 2 bad races really she ran last year were against better, and she had some gate trouble in both of them. Linda Rice claims her back now, 3rd time with these connections, and she should be forward in this spot in here, and she's performed well on a wet track. So
I don't think she has particularly more consistent form than really the horses inside of her. All of these horses have won their share of races and sort of won at a relatively high percentage. It's Linda Rice. It's a reclaim for her. Comes off a good figure win on a muddy sealed track. People like seeing that. And so I get why they're betting her. But I'll be honest with you. I picked her. Well, I scratched into her. I like the 4. But I'm not sure she's supposed to be a heavy favorite over either Patty Cakes or really My First Love, who was on a dead rail in her last start. But, Patty Cakes is dropping down precipitously, the horse inside of her. And her form before that and her prior 2 races, I know they were at Parks, but they were good enough to win here.
Yeah, they certainly were. I guess, last time she definitely faced better, and she was 3 to 4 wide, too, most of the way around the track, where the winners ended up being 1-2 around the track. You get a drop in class here. I wonder if there's just a little bit of...
She's 2 back.
Yeah, this is 2 back we're looking at. Absolutely. Should have pointed that out. She's 0 for 5, though, at Aqueduct, and maybe people just are a little bit gun-shy about playing her for that alone, but she has faced better horses, and this is a drop in class for her. We'll see if she can perform well here finally, and she does perform well over a wet track, and all wet tracks are created differently anyway. So for me, it was more of a matter of I just need to see her run a solid race here. Can she do it now at a lesser level?
I mean, she didn't win here, but she was probably in tougher spots, and she did run second and third once and ran a Beyer figure of 76, which would probably beat Coquito. So I'm not sure. You know, I don't know. It's Linda Rice, a reclaim by her, coming off a big win. But that win last time out, she had an absolutely perfect trip, stalking outside. I think Patty Cake's the player. And My First Love, I mean, I guess overall My First Love is a little slower than these horses. And trainer Rob Atras is looking, we've gone to the one, My First Love, is looking for his second win in today's card, having won earlier with a horse he claimed off Linda Rice that won here just a few days ago. But this horse, you know, was one of a number of horses that Flavien Prat buried down on the dead rail in that period of time where we had a dead rail.
Yeah, and, you know, spent quite a bit of time down there as well. And it's a reclaim for Rob. So Rob knows what he's getting, you know, with this horse as well.
What are you seeing from the one, Maggie?
Well, it does seem like a lot of people like having My First Love in their barn, as she is fairly popular throughout her career in the claim box, as we see Rob going back in for her. But the thing that I think is appealing to them, that I consistently see from her, is just how well she holds her physical form. I mean, she always looks great in the paddock. You know, whether you're going to see the best performance from her, and whether that performance is going to be good enough to take down the likes of Coquito and Patty Cakes, who I certainly don't mind them here in the paddock either. I don't know. Now, Rob immediately, I shouldn't say immediately, because she was actually entered in scratch in one of those kind of starter optional claiming fields for the 16 last week here. And Opsis put her in here for the 16,000 in a straight claiming race. So I don't know, read what you will into that. She does stretch back and out in distance for a mare who is, you know, a little bit pace compromised. She doesn't have, you know, no early speed, and I think getting out to a mile actually draws her into the race. She just doesn't have that, you know, real acceleration. So I actually think a mile might be ideal. It is up to Christopher Elliott to kind of extricate her off that rail a little bit. I don't know, you know, with the wet conditions, how conducive running up the rail is on this racetrack. Moving on to a horse who just caught my eye, who is coming in off of a win, but against lesser foes. That's number 6, Flojan here. Jesus Romero having a nice start to 2026. And the fact of the matter is, his horses are typically well turned out. He just might not have the best horses in the races. Now, whether we see her kind of ride the high of the win, maybe. I don't know if she's a win candidate per se, Andy, but just strikes me as a horse who's doing well, at least coming in against some tougher foes.
Yeah, you know, it's tough to move up from the bottom level where this horse has been running the last couple of starts and win. There's such a difference between the 10 claimers, the bottom level, than there is the 16s, because when you run for the 16, you're sort of running against horses worth 16. You run for 10, you're running against horses that are worth 0 to 10. So that level is much different. But I don't disagree with Maggie. Her last race was okay.
Yeah, it was not bad, and they were right about the money she took as well in that race, too. So she got away a little bit slow, but she actually made a nice sustained run in that race to get the job done and hold on there. So not the worst if you like her at 10-1 in here today, but she's probably going to have to step up her game just a little bit to beat the 3 horses, the 1, 2, and 3 in there.
But I got to tell you, I picked the 3 Coquito. I think the 3 to 5 is ridiculous at this point. And knowing these odds, I would definitely have gone to the 1 or 2 as alternatives. As horses are heading onto the track for the race. And we'll start with the 1, My First Love, Rob Atras, and Christopher Elliott.
Yeah, reclaim for Rob. We'll see what we get this time from a horse who spent a lot of time down on that rail last time where the flow was outside.
Number 2 is Patty Cakes, going out for Gustavo Rodriguez with Kendrick.
Drops in class, and another kind of horse that was against it last time, being wide while the race was dominated up front.
Jose Lezcano rides the heavy favorite Coquito for trainer Linda Rice.
Yeah, obviously Linda Rice going to take money with Jose Lezcano up, and you're getting 3 to 5 on a horse who did win last time out.
Longest shot on the board is the number 5, Trouble Luck, going out for Eddie DeLauro with Jose Gomez.
Yeah, it's a drop in class, but we've seen this horse at the bottom and struggle as well. So definitely going to be a price in this spot.
The 6, Floge, 4th choice right now, Jesus Romero and Ricardo Santana.
Yeah, the last 2 wins have been at the bottom for 10, but does have some other efforts peppered through the past performances that are not terrible.
And Marcelo Arenas and Dalila Rivera team up with the 7, Brooklyn Dance.
It was an interesting horse because this is a drop back down for this horse, and 2 starts back got the job done with a pretty heady ride. I mean, this is kind of the level where this horse belongs. This is a tougher field, though, that this horse will be facing today.
With the delay in the last race, Oaklawn will be going off a few minutes after our races. They are just about 6 or 7 minutes away, and horses are on the track. Let's get the post parade from Mig and Meg.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. We'll slip in this post parade now, and well, we're up to the 2-horse here, and Mr. J, a horse you like a bit.
I do like this horse, my top selection. Hopefully can settle a bit routing for the second time.
Most amazing, a big long shot would have to find a faster race than we've seen.
Wears those blinkers, but still hasn't really helped with any early speed.
Here's the 4, Fitzgerald, stretching out, for Ron Moquette.
Gets Lasix, still no speed shown in 2 starts prior.
The 5, Midnight Menace, dropping in class.
The blinkers come on, maybe to sharpen him up, and stretches out in distance.
The 6, Twisted Steel, looks too slow.
Yeah, way too slow, particularly for, I think, how kind of tough this group came.
The 7-horse, Dream of You. This is a horse I'm a little interested in. He's kind of made slight improvements in every one of his races.
Really like to see when those horses are progressing through each start, getting better, especially with the distance.
Timberline, dropping in class, is your favorite.
Looks stretchy enough, gets the blinkers on, and Lasix will hope the drop in class will be sufficient for him today.
Boltzmann, he's going to have to really turn it around in a big way.
Has not run a step in 3 prior starts.
And the 10, Copper Jacket, another one. Just feels like we're going to have to see something we haven't seen yet on the racetrack.
Yeah, I mean, second time getting the most distance that he's ever gotten with apprentice Amir Mendoza aboard.
Well, we got about 5 minutes to post here at Oaklawn for race 5, but they're getting closer to post time in New York. Back to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Richie. Hopefully these posts will mitigate a little bit as the day goes on. Of course, we do only have a few left here at Aqueduct. Well, you got to stick when you do public handicap with the picks you made. I am not inclined to particularly love the 4 to 5 on the 3 Coquito. And looking at the prices, if I could make a change, I would move to the horse that Maggie picked, the number 1 on the inside.
It'd be interesting to see how the dynamics of this race actually come about from a pace standpoint. You would think if Coquito breaks, Coquito's going to be forward in here. I wonder if the 2 is going to be able to.
I think the 2 is the speed.
Yeah, I mean that was my question. If you think that the 2 is going to be able to put enough pressure on the 3, and then
well,
just
the 2 is faster than the 3. I would think if there's pressure on the 2, it's more likely to come from Troubled Luck, the 5, than it is from Coquito. Coquito doesn't have a lot of speed.
We'll see. I mean,
I don't think she'll be far off.
Yeah,
of it,
I don't think she's going to be far off of it either. She should be
with
within range, providing that she breaks. But it'll be interesting to see how aggressive they are with Troubled Luck. We had talked about that on the earlier show too. But I guess I also kind of fell into the 4 to 5 shot in here. But for me, it was just more of this horse's just bad races came when this horse just did not get out of the gate and against better. And I think against this field, this horse is probably better than these horses. I just think she is.
I'm not sure. I mean, I think she's the horse to beat. I'm not sure she deserves to be 4 to 5 over Patty Cakes. I understand you're dealing with Linda Rice, and her horses are really running well. She spots them well. But she's a horse that's a little dressed up. I mean, she was 48 cents the dollar last time out. She set an absolutely perfect trip outside against the dead rail. And I know Whistler Style came back to win, but that was an odd situation in a race that completely collapsed in a much shorter race. But we'll see how things play out and how the race is run in just a few moments as they're heading into the gate. The number 2 going towards the gate. That's Patty Cakes. Kendrick has them out. Have to imagine Kendrick's going to look to send and try to control this race from start to finish. We'll see how much pressure she gets outside of her. Trying to get her into the gate.
Yeah, she's a little bit fidgety and not wanting to go in, so hopefully they will get that rectified quick. Yeah, she's not a little happy getting in there. I don't know if she's had gate trouble before. I don't remember her being tough to load.
I don't know that this is a massive problem. She's just a little.
Yeah, she's just acting up a little bit. Fillies will tend to do that. Mares as well.
Colts don't. Well, I mean, they all do it.
Yeah.
Horses. I would say horses tend to do that. We've got a few left to load. Let's head up to Chris Griffin.
Patty Cakes is now in. Coquito. Here's Troubled Luck. 2 out. Floge. And Brooklyn Dance will be last to load. Brooklyn Dance. To Lila Rivera. To the outside. And in. All set. Coquito breaks well from in between horses. So does Troubled Luck in the early kick. Got up on the far outside. Right there is Floge in the early mix, and trying to join them is Patty Cakes. So pretty tightly bunched here as they get set to come out of the chute. Troubled Luck now with a neck advantage. Brooklyn Dance wants to apply more pressure. Also Troubled Luck is right there towards the inside, and Floge is ready to challenge. And now Floge and Troubled Luck, they're going to be 1-2, 23 and 4 as they hook up with the backstretch. Just off of them is Brooklyn Dance in third. Another 2.5, almost 3. Back to Patty Cakes, who's losing some ground as Coquito is trying to get into the mix, has taken that 4th spot. And at the rail, quickly moving through, My First Love is making a real quick run. Pulling here, Christopher Elliott wants to be right in behind that battling trio and gets there with 4 furlongs left to go. At the rail, it's Troubled Luck. Floge in between horses, 3 wide Brooklyn Dance. My First Love wants to get out, is at the rail, nowhere to go yet, and out wider, here comes Coquito. The trailer is Patty Cakes. They're approaching a quarter mile left to go, 48.17 for the half-mile time. Troubled Luck is battling on. Floge has been right there in between horses. Out wider, Brooklyn Dance. My First Love. Elliott looking for a way through as they reach the top of the stretch. Coquito down the center of the racetrack starts to roll. It's Floge who's the leader. Coquito, though, comes bearing down on rivals down the center of the racetrack. And on the grandstand side, Patty Cakes back into the bit, too. My First Love switches towards the outside. It's Coquito opening up here, a length and a half now. Still battling on as Floge towards the inside. Brooklyn Dance. Coquito, a hard-earned victory as your favorite, but gets it done. Coquito wins it over Floge, who finished second, then Brooklyn Dance and Patty Cakes in 1 minute 42.01 seconds.
Not exactly winning like a 3 to 5 shot should, and it probably helped that Patty Cakes, no matter how hard Kendrick rode her, had no speed, and My First Love never really got out of a gallop. Coquito gets it done for Linda and Jose as we head back to Oaklawn.
Jump right back into action here at Oaklawn Park as the horses are heading towards the starting gate. You landed on the 2, Mr. J, after kind of rushing up, setting a pretty fast pace for the level last time.
Right, gets a bit more of a class drop, not too much of a drop as he ran for the $35,000 tag last time out. But your horse, the number 7, Richie, the half sibling actually competed and was the Japanese representative, ran in the Belmont and the Preakness.
Yeah, so he's got a little bit of family history he needs to live up to there. But I landed on Dream of You. I just thought this horse just kind of showed a little bit of steady improvement. And albeit he needs to show a little bit more, but I don't think he's far out of the frame. They're loading up very nicely here. I'm going to send it upstairs to Matt Dinneman for the call of race 5.
Into the outside post, Copper Jacket. Here's Copper Jacket coming up. We're ready to go. And we're off. Good start from Twisted Steel, who goes to the lead. Chief Fowler takes second. Mr. J into third early. Dream of You parked on the outside. Most amazing between horses on a hold as they go into the first turn. Timberline adding the blinkers today, closer than usual. He's only 4 behind in about the 4 path as they round the turn. Midnight Menace is between horses. Fitzgerald rides the rail here and having a steady. Mr. J off of heels when in tight in midfield. We come back to Bolt's Money, who's detached from the rest as they swing up the backstretch. So they sorted themselves out here. Twisted Steel on the lead a neck, but Dream of You wants to go with them, and these two hook up with 5 furlongs to go. They put 2 lengths on Timberline, who's right behind in those white blinkers third. Most amazing in the green to his inside, and Chief Fowler finds a spot on the rail with that pair. Mr. J Keen behind those 3. He's 4 off the lead, approaching the half-mile pole. Copper Jacket to his outside, then Fitzgerald, Midnight Menace, and that leaves Bolt's Money well behind, not being persevered with at this point as they go into the far turn run. Dream of You, along with Twisted Steel, they are still on the lead as they go into the turn. Timberline has come under a bit of a ride, but he makes a little bit of a move towards the lead. He's under a hard ride to do it, though. Most amazing to his inside. Mr. J, 6 lengths behind, under a ride as well, trying to get going. Chief Fowler to his inside, scrubbed upon, then Fitzgerald. The others need to get going as they come to the top of the lane. Timberline right up alongside Dream of You, and these two swing off the turn together. Timberline on the outside, moving to the lead now. Timberline nose in front. Dream of You's going to come right back at him from the inside. He's very game, Dream of You. Timberline trying to lean in on Dream of You. Dream of You, Timberline side by side. Timberline back in front. He's got bigger strides than Dream of You, and he starts to assert he's in front. He wins. Timberline over Dream of You, then Most Amazing in Midnight Menace.
And it was Timberline who was taking all the money on that big drop in class, getting it done over a very game number 7, Dream of You.
The blinkers sharpened the number 8 Timberline, as he was much more forward than just the plodding way off of it that he was in his last 3 priors, as he certainly had the edge on buyer speed figures of this group. But hey, your horse, the number 7, Dream of You, took another step forward to me. I mean, he was right there on the pace early, held on, he was game. They were clear of the rest of the field, and then just got beaten there late at the wire. I thought he did some really good running, one to obviously look out for next time out. But the precipitous drop in class, maiden special to $24,000 tag, worked out in the end for the Kenny McPeak barn and the number 8 Timberline.
Yeah, Manny Esquivel getting it done for Kenny McPeak seems to be his kind of go-to rider this meet at Oaklawn. They came together a little bit. You saw the size disparity. It seemed like Timberline was kind of looming over Dream of You, excuse me. But a nice effort and a very logical result here at Oaklawn Park. We're going to head to a break now, and we'll get to more great racing action on America's Day at the Races.
America's Day at the Races is brought to you in part by America's Best Racing, making the sport easier to follow. Explore stories, betting tips, and race day insights at americasbestracing.net. Some things that are happening at ABR right now. We've got some discussion of the Kentucky Triple Crown Trail, which is really starting to heat up as we're just about 2 months away from the Derby. A little bit of history from Jennifer Kelly, talking about some history of racing, and Noel Michaels with some tips on this weekend's races. Get all the information over at abr.net. Winner's Circle at Aqueduct. The claimed Coquito, as both the 2 and 3 were claimed out of here, but Linda Rice is back in town and Jose Lezcano back in the Winner's Circle.
Yeah, I think this was more of a plodding win than an impressive win, but nevertheless still got the job done at the end of the day. I mean, Jose was getting after this horse on the backstretch a few times before they even hit the turn, kind of slapping him on the shoulder a little bit with the reins, like, can we get moving a little bit? And I guess at the end of the day, maybe this horse was just the best of a group that didn't run, ultimately. But nevertheless, got the job done. Anyway, it was a weirdly run race, too, because the two kind of had nothing early, looked like he was done, then ran a little bit in the stretch. It was kind of a weirdly run race.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 is the speed on paper, and she's been the speed, but Kendrick really tried to motivate her. She just had none whatsoever and really did no running. But Coquito got it done. 354 on the win end. Floge, the long shot that Maggie was talking about, filled out an exacta that paid just over $7 for $1. Race number 7. A little bit more competitive maybe than some of the races. No overwhelming favorite, but under grad looks like another favorite for Linda Rice coming off of a maiden win, and Jose Lezcano as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this horse runs now against winners for the first time, especially off that trip last time where speed was good and this horse was able to get to the top and just win.
Okay, I couldn't hear what was being said to me, but the cross-country pick 5, I think, starts in race number 7 here. Yep. 2 races here and 3 at Oaklawn. All those races will be shown in our broadcast, which goes till 6:30 Eastern time tonight. Starts off with race number 7, where, as we mentioned, the number 4 appears to be the favorite, and that's Undergrad, coming off of a maiden win as we head back to Oaklawn.
Thanks, Andy. And we got race 6 is up next. A little bit of time to post time, but it was the favorite. Getting it done here in race number
6, I believe.
Race 5. It was
5. Time
Timberline.
flies when you're having
Excuse
fun.
me.
We're still on race 5.
Over the second choice. So a very chalky way to start the $1 Class 6. And he got a real nice trip. Manny Esquivel has been really putting horses in the right positions.
Much more forwardly placed. He was just plodding along, not really doing much of any running against maiden special foes, but the blinkers came on, the class drop was necessary. It was a game duel. You know, some of these cheaper maidens, specifically when it comes to looking a horse in the eye and getting the job done, sometimes more often than not, you don't see those kinds of duels on the front end, but got it done in the end. And as mentioned, I know we had a 15-to-1 shot earlier on the card, but this was a very logical result. And if you had a 37-to-1 shot underneath, you got paid for that trifecta.
Yeah, 2 very logical horses, and then maybe use everybody underneath. But Dream of You was game, but Timberline was best on the drop. In Class Race 6, we got 12-5, non-winners of 2 and a life, fillies and mares here sprinting. And I thought this was maybe the hardest race all day to handicap.
This one was tough. The number 7, Silent Strike, taking some money with apprentice Amir Mendoza aboard. But I've got some interest in the number 8. What's her number? Was in for the waiver, has gone through the waivers in the last 2 efforts there for David Fox, and has a bit of tactical speed. Hopefully can return to some of that. It's been missing for her as of late.
Well, we'll be coming up with that, but we're going to take a little time out here, and we're going to talk about the Rebel Stakes. We'll be drawing the Rebel Stakes tomorrow. Won't be run till the following Sunday, but it should be a terrific edition of the Rebel Stakes.
Here comes that big gray Tappet Trice right down the outside.
Trice wins the Toyota Bluegrass. Tappet Trice's 2024 debut was awesome.
Tappet Trice is lunging. Tappet Trice wins the Woodward.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing, get expert picks, boost your bankroll with weekly promotions, and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Prince of Monaco's Too Good for Moose, an impressive winner of the Best Pal. Miramondi's all hot, but Prince of Monaco Too Good.
Prince of Monaco,
standing at Claiborne Farm.
This winter, give the gift of racing with Naira Bets gift card. Share your passion with friends and family or instantly fund your account. Choose the amount and redeem online. Find gift cards under the promotions tab at NairaBets.com. The Belmont Stakes Racing Festival returns for the final time to historic Saratoga Racecourse. Don't miss the Belmont Festival at Saratoga. June 3rd through 7th. Secure your place in history at BelmontStakes.com.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. We're here at Oaklawn Park. Megan Burgess, I'm Richard Migliori, and we've got the Rebel Stakes coming up a week from this Sunday. And a bunch of the horses out of Southwest are coming back, and obviously your winner, Silent Tactic, who rallied from off the pace. I thought it was a good effort from Soldier and Diplomat, who showed more of a rating tact, and even Butane, who was very game between horses, Megan.
He was. Silent Tactic just gobbled up ground, laid the number 11 there on your screen, and it was just incredibly impressive being able to roll in the way he has. The second time he had ever been on dirt, just drawing away beautifully there in the end. We'll see actually the number 4, the number 13, and the number 3 there on your screens all return. Rancho Santa Fe looks to return off of the Southwest as well. So the top 4 finishers will come back. We'll see if some of these outside invaders can take a stab at these Oaklawn homers. So far, the Oaklawn homers have been doing incredibly well here, Meg.
They really have, and I'm actually very, very impressed with Silent Tactic. Got a horse here from Kenny McPeak, who was second in the Breeders' Futurity by the 2-year-old champion Ted Nafi in Blackout Time.
He's been one of those fringe horses that wasn't quite good enough last year and looks to build on his 3-year-old campaign here. We'll take a look at Blackout Time in that aforementioned Breeders' Futurity. He will not, of course, defeat the 2-year-old champion in Ted Nafi. Comes up short, but it always at Keeneland makes sometimes those speed horses, it just seems they get on the front end and they roll away.
Yeah, I mean, Ted Nafi just felt like he was a more finished product than any of the 2-year-olds last year, and that's no disrespect to any of them. He just seemed like he had a professionalism to him, and just a little more maturity. But Blackout Time, a big effort there, and going to be interesting to see how he reacts now as a 3-year-old.
He's down at Fairgrounds. He's going to go down to Fairgrounds per Kenny McPeak. Then he will work with an older horse by the name of Gould's Gold, who will come here for the Razorback. And then after that work, they will both ship here to Oaklawn Park. So we'll see how that, of course, shapes up this weekend. Lots of these horses, though, putting in their final works, the draw a little bit earlier. And a lot of these plans might shift, might change as far as these probables are concerned. You just saw Brandt, of course, a memorable 2-year-old from last year, and Butane from the West Coast. We will see if they do make the ship over, but Rancho Santa Fe should be the lone Brad Cox entrant this year in this year's Rebel Stakes. But I think it's a fantastic group. I think the real X-Factor horse of that list, Richie, is Class President, coming for Todd Pletcher, who does not typically send horses to Oaklawn very often.
No, and he had a really good effort in the Swale Stakes. He broke his maiden going a mile, turned back to 7/8, was a good effort, and now he's going to stretch back out to 2 turns. And one thing about the races here at Oaklawn, you have such a comprehensive series of races in every division, and obviously for the 3-year-olds, you have 3 races worth at least $1 million. Where we had the Smarty Jones, then the Southwest $1 million purse, the Rebel over $1 million, the Arkansas Derby over $1 million. It's kind of you can come to Oaklawn and it's like your one-stop shopping if you're prepping a young horse for the Derby.
Mark Cassie's looking for his 4th consecutive Kentucky Derby prep win, rolling off the 2 wins there with Strategic Risk and Silent Tactic. It just seems his barn is unstoppable, but I really do think the progressive sort of the likes of Class President is going to be incredibly interesting. And this is the kind of race where it gives us the answers. It used to be actually a $1.25 million race. Now it's just $1 million, but incredibly lucrative, really brings some top players. And last year we of course saw some of those players obviously wind up in the Derby, and I think it's going to be another formidable shaping up, especially as we get closer and closer, Meg. It seems as if the Kentucky Derby will be next week from how time has just been flying here at Oaklawn Park.
Yeah, and these are preps, and hopefully we get more and more clarity as we go forward. And, of course, who's going to get good at the right time? Andy, I know you're always reluctant to make an early Derby pick, and rightfully so. There's a lot of time between now and the first Saturday in May.
No, I couldn't agree more. It makes it so it's sort of wide open at this point. And I think that it's a mistake for people to marry. I mean, it's one thing you're fans of horses, and that's fine. We're all fans of horses. But to say, this is my Derby horse, you know, in February or even March, what's the point?
There's so much that can happen.
Even the draw. Why would you want to marry yourself to a horse before the draw? See how the race shapes out. It's America's toughest race to handicap and win. Why do you want to make it tougher?
Yeah, you make it harder on yourself, but let alone the horse having that hard time, because it's not always the best horse that wins the Derby, as we know. It's a combination of luck and being in the right place at the right time, along with that skill and peaking on the right day. So I agree with everyone here. It is too early to marry yourself to someone, and we'll see how this turns out in the next 6 or 7 weeks, and then you can start to gauge who you feel are the contenders.
So we head over to the 7th race here. We're just about 7 or 8 minutes away from the break. And the favorite is Undergrad now at 9-5. And listen, she's a lightly raced horse that certainly could have some upside. But I didn't think she improved from her first to second start. The rail was extremely good. She was able to get the lead and control from the inside, and she didn't really run any faster than she did in her debut, where she had a bit of a trip. And a lot of times Linda Rice horses improve second time out. So while I won't be shocked if she wins, I have absolutely no problem betting against this horse.
And I kind of feel like, isn't she going to have to win from off the pace today, too, with some other speeds that are potentially signed on in here? I mean, don't you think, Savvy
She's not
Sunset
faster than the 7, and she's probably not faster than the 5.
Yeah, so I'm saying horses outside of her as well. So I think it's not going to be an easy journey for the favorite.
More on the favorite Undergrad and some others as we head down to the paddock and Maggie.
I saw it that way too, guys, is that she's not going to have a walk in the park like she did last time out, though she did bounce out of the gate quite nicely to assert herself early in that field of maidens, though. But there's some other fast and more experienced fillies in here, so that's a reason to be concerned. But the fact of the matter here, looking at her physically, as this is actually the first time I'm laying eyes on her, she is very athletic. She's definitely built like a dirt sprinter, and is incredibly fit now for Linda in her 3rd career start. So all things good for her physically here in the paddock, but to take a short price on her when you're a bit suspect of the dynamics, and 2, not that I like to bank on wet tracks one way or the other, but it is her first time having to deal with a wet track. The horse that kept catching my eye here in the paddock is number 2, Cloudy Chance. Now, I totally get she was actually with the racetrack last time out. She wasn't the quickest into stride, but she was wide on a dead rail day, so it was no wonder she kind of kept coming and kept in pursuit of those horses who were more forwardly placed than she was. But she just looks great here for Chris Englehart. She's striding out well, very alert and energetic, great conditioning to her as well. As I always say, Andy, if I was blindly picking horses purely on appearances, I would definitely land on number 2, Cloudy Chance.
Thanks, Maggie. Well, I know, Paul, you're a fan of the number 2 Cloudy Chance, and I don't disagree. She seems to be running very well. You pointed out an interesting thing about her. She actually does her best running at Aqueduct better than at Finger Lake, something you don't see very often.
No, right? You usually see the opposite. The horses that come down in the winter at Finger Lake sometimes struggle, to acclimate themselves down here against the competition, but she's the opposite. And I know she's run in some tougher spots, some allowance races up there, but she's held her own down here, and she's outrun her odds, and she's tactical enough, and she's performed okay on wet tracks, and she should have something in front of her to run at.
It seems like a very fair price at her current 5-1. We'll see where that goes as we get closer to post. The horses are making their way to the track for the post parade for race number 7. And Michael Gorham, who had a winner here just the other day, saddles the 1, Graceful Rose, with Jamie Rodriguez.
Interesting horse because she's faced better fields. We'll see what she can do here.
The 2, Cloudy Chance, Manny's riding for Chris Englehart.
Talked about her. Hopefully she sits a nice strip behind the speed in here, and she's able to continue that nice downstate record that she's put together so far.
Finally broke her maiden in her 13 start, Sabby Sunset, with Raylu riding for John Terranova.
Yeah, you would assume that this horse is going to be forward. Whether or not she makes the lead's a different story with some speed outside of her.
Jose Lezcano and Linda Rice looking for back-to-back wins with the favorite, the 4 Undergrad.
Very interested to see how she trips out as well, because I think she's going to have to come from off the pace today.
We move on to the number 5, Twirling Lulu, who I like in this race. I thought she ran very well last time. She went by. There's Fifi Lafume, a long shot.
Yeah, I think she's just a better turf horse than she is dirt horse.
And rounding out the field is the speedy I'm Kidding with Ruben Silvera.
You know, she's fast. She was with the track last time, too. She's definitely going to bring the speed from the outside, so she may be in front of these if she breaks fast and Ruben's aggressive.
As I was mentioning before with the number 5, Twirling Lulu, there's no doubt that she's going to have to run faster than she's ever run in the dirt before. She has never run fast enough to win this race, and it's frankly not even that close. But I thought she showed some signs last time. The track was very speed-friendly last time. Elegant was forwardly placed. She broke a step slow. The horse inside of her came out, kind of smashed into her in that race, and I thought she made a little bit of a run towards the end, a little bit against the flow of the race, and I thought it was a better race than it looks, and I'm hoping with a clean break that she can be forward in here. Thought she's a little underexposed, and let's face it, I'm always looking for a reason to bet my man Bruce Levine.
Yeah, and Roddy Valenti too for me too. And the blinker's going on here, and I just wonder if the blinkers were more of just to get her to be more straight coming out of the gate, but it wasn't really her fault last time because she got knocked around. So, and it was a nice race from her, especially because she was able to come from off the pace.
Let's head to Oaklawn for the post parade of race number 6.
Thanks, Andy. And the fillies and mares are on the racetrack for race 6, starting with the 1 part of the entry, Carmelietta.
Carmelietta. There we go. It jumps up in tag off of a maiden $7,500 win at Will Rogers Downs. Hard to tell with that kind of class.
And her stablemate, Chiquita Riena.
Much more experienced, but just 1 win out of 25 starts, not a winning commodity at all.
The 2, Yes to Champagne, was scratched. Here's the 3, Majestic Tornado.
This feels like the right spot, dropping down from that 12-5 non-winners of 2 at Will Rogers as well.
Yeah, and then Kerr Nunn ran decently at Remington for 10 back in the fall.
Has a layoff to contend with, and the trainer is not good on these first off of the claim angles.
Sassy Lass, 1 for 19.
Arkansas bred here in for $16,000. We'll have to take a step up off of a bit of a freshening.
The 6, Army Nurse, first-time Asmussen on the drop.
Makes a lot of sense given it feels like an Asmussen type of claim.
And the 7, dropping in Cast Lion Strike, but she's only had 1 dirt try in her life. The rest have been on synthetic or turf.
Didn't show much on dirt and taking favoritism. We'll see if that lasts.
This is who I like, the 8, What's Her Number? She just seemed to make a little sense on the slight drop, 3rd off the layoff.
3rd off the layoff and now waiverless if she's utilized that in her last 2 efforts.
And a horse at a big price that you could actually make a little bit of a case for is the 9 by 40.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely stacking this horse underneath. It just feels like that kind of race. And if you go 3 back here at Oaklawn, got on the board at 35-1. So spicing things up with a horse that 13 starts, and it feels like that kind of why not type race with this Minnesota bred.
Well, we got a fast track here at Oaklawn, but let's head back to a rainy, wet racetrack at Aqueduct.
Thanks, Richie. Horses are heading over the gate for race number 7. You and Maggie like the number 2, who I think's a generous price, well, Cloudy Chance. I'm trying the number 5, Twirling Lulu, hoping she's more forward. The favorite, though, is the 4, Undergrad, as Linda Rice looking for her 3rd win today. And I believe Jose Lezcano as well. Did he ride the number 3? No, that was Manny Franco.
Yeah.
So looking for back-to-back for Jose. We'll get the call from Chris Griffin.
Twirling Lulu, 2 out. Fifi Lafume. I'm Kidding, last to load. Goes in, all set. And they're off. Speed towards the outside, I'm Kidding. It's now shoved along Twirling Lulu. Is right there, is going to be in second. But it's I'm Kidding with serious intentions, goes right to the front, is up by 2.5. Right there in second is Twirling Lulu, who ranges up to the 2 path here, is going to try to cut into the margin of the leader, who taps on the brakes immediately. I'm Kidding and Twirling Lulu. At the rail, it's Cloudy Chance, who's now taking a shared 3rd with Undergrad, who's losing ground, is back in 4th. Savvy Sunset out wider in 5th. Then from 6 is Fifi Lafume, the trailer, Graceful Rose. The speedy I'm Kidding, 22.77, unopposed on the front end so far. Twirling Lulu is asked to do more, and Cloudy Chance is going to ride the rails in behind this leader as they approach a quarter-mile left to go. Can I'm Kidding still hold off all rivals? I'm Kidding now gets the cue and tries to kick away again. I'm Kidding gets closer to the rail, and I'm Kidding is still in front. Graceful Rose was last, but look at Graceful Rose. Green cap about to split rivals, and Graceful Rose has gone from last to first, and Graceful Rose is up by 2.5. Graceful Rose, Jamie Rodriguez, they got it. Cloudy Chance second, I'm Kidding holds on for third over Fifi Lafume in 1 minute 12.89 seconds.
Going into last weekend, trainer Michael Gorham was 2 for 57 running horses at Naira. He's had 2 winners in the last few days of racing. Very nice trip and an easy victory for Graceful Rose, who took a lot of money in this race as well.
Yeah, I mean, the only argument I can make for this horse was that this horse just faced better fields, but this horse has got a nice pace set up and a nice ride, was able to come up the inside, found the room, and was able to draw off.
Well, I mean, 3 of her last 4 Beyer speed figures made her a major player in this race. I mean, I think there was plenty of things you could like about her, and she got it done. She's got a win in a wet track as well, and she proved much the best in this race. Year 2, Cloudy Chance ran fine to be second, but she was second best, and the favorite was an absolute no-show as we head back to Hot Springs.
Yeah, Megan, and this we agree. This is a very, very difficult race. You've got, the 6 is 5-2, the 7's 5-2, the 8's 2-1, but the 6 making a drop in class in either one of her first 2 tries on dirt would be very, very tough to beat here.
She looks like a tank out there on the track for Steve Asmussen with Eric Asmussen aboard. And while she did not do very much running last time out, I'm using her here. I wish she was a bit better of a price. She was there at 6-1 on the morning line, which is kind of what I thought I would get on her. But this is Oaklawn Park. This is a difficult race. As you mentioned, bettors are just going between 6, 7, 8. I'll let you get to your dad joke momentarily on that one, but was against better. And I just think, Steve Asmussen wins races and does so a lot of times in these types of fashions that plays the claiming game, you could say. Claim for $32,000, not necessarily showed a whole lot out of that race, immediately drops in tag, and I think, as you mentioned, has the races that if she shows up, has proven commodity on the dirt, which you could not say about the number 7, you're getting at the same price. I like the 6 Army Nurse here.
And Eric Asmussen has just been riding in such good form. You could see how much his confidence level has risen. And also for a rider, there's a maturation. As a young rider, you can't be as strong as guys that have been riding consistently over the years. You just build different muscle memory. But I think Eric's been looking very strong finishing, making the right moves, confidence level high. The 7 Silent Strike. Yes, this horse is taking money, and the races on synthetic and or turf would be good enough to run here. But the question is that going to translate to a dirt course? Especially
at Oaklawn Park. This horse has never been here before. This can be a really tricky surface to acclimate to. It's kind of a heavier surface, particularly when you're up there over that springboard synthetic up in Canada. And to me on track, while I haven't seen this horse up close, just looking at her from behind, kind of angular build, this horse kind of looks like a turf horse. And while I do think that perhaps the blinkers coming on, this horse will be a little bit more sharp, I also think the number 6 Army Nurse's gig is to get her more forwardly placed as she was in some of her first efforts. So I'm maybe interested to see if Amir Mendoza on the number 7 Silent Strike will potentially have this horse in a more forward position. Clearly has the buyers, the raw figures on paper, but I still have my doubts at taking this kind of horse at this price in this race on this surface.
I'm right alongside with you. Not at a short price, and she is the co-favorite. We have 3 horses at 5-2 now. Amir Mendoza has been impressing me. He's an apprentice that I think people need to keep an eye on. I think he has a lot of ability. I landed on the 8. What's her number? I just thought she made sense. Third off the layoff. Kind of a slow, steady slide to the 12-5 level for David Fox. And Francisco Arrieta also riding in good form. Had a tough fall the other day, but bounced right back.
He was told everyone he was going to ride horses immediately the next morning. I saw him at the barn this morning aboard Counting Stars, who will look to take the Honeybee. So he is certainly back up and running. I like this horse as well. It makes a lot of sense. Clearly, needed the race off a solid layoff too back when she used the waiver. When they use that waiver off of the layoff, they don't want to lose those horses when they're just getting back to the races. Right. Running protected, you could say. She ran protected again last time out, and she didn't do as much running. So we'll see if she can be a little bit more forwardly placed, use the speed that we know she has, and get into her game a bit more early.
Okay, quickly as they start to load, you can make a case for the 9, who is a huge price.
I want to. I really do. We'll see if, again, this horse needs to get involved. A bit more tactical as this horse was. 3 back, and maybe we'll spice up if you're some of those trifecta players out there.
Well, the field is loading up. We have opinions. The horses will have the answers and within a few minutes here as we send it up to Matt Dinneman for the call.
What's her number? And Sassy Lass go again. Sassy Lass goes in. What's her number? Post position number 8. Here's Army Nurse loading. BL 40. Chiquita Reina. We're ready to go. And we're off. Kernon from post 4 going to the lead here. Carmelita moving up to claim the second position. Army Nurse alongside. Silent Strike easing off the speed is 4th now down the backstretch with What's Her Number. Then Majestic Tornado and Sassy Lash. Chiquita Reina well off the rails, second to last. BL 40 at the back as they head down the backstretch. Army Nurse is challenging Kernon on the front end. And Chiquita Reina, rather, that's Carmelita, who backs off in 3rd going into the turn. Silent Strike losing position as they corner. A deep What's Her Number is making a nice move. There goes What's Her Number, and the 4 path to come and challenge the pace setters, and now 4 runners are right there on the lead. What's Her Number making a bold move to the lead. Army Nurse tries to keep pace between horses. Kernon is down on the rail. Gap of 2 lengths back to Chiquita Reina, who tries to run on here. Silent Strike on the far outside as they come off the turn. What's Her Number? Army Nurse starting to struggle between horses. Kernon battling on down on the fence. Kernon, What's Her Number? Kernon going to the front, has reclaimed the lead from What's Her Number, who starts to lose contact with that one. Chiquita Reina's coming on into second, but it's Kernon to give Ramon Vasquez another one. Kernon drawing off to win by 3. Chiquita Reina was second, tight for 3rd. What's Her Number? And an oncoming Sassy Lass.
Well, it was Kernon getting it done. Ramon Vasquez, nice trip, got to save ground. She was forward. And one of those races that wouldn't really be surprised if anybody won.
Right, it felt like that kind of race. You know, it was interesting. You talked about a middle move made on the number 8 early on that contested pace, and it was contested up front, 3 across the board early, and then the number 4 just kind of slips in, is more rated off of things. It's just, take a look at the drone shot, which is my favorite, of course. Again, is able to get to the inside and just get the better of those that faded in front of her late with, again, Ramon Vasquez had an incredible week last week, comes back here for Boyd Castor, and I was hesitant about this horse. Don't ever believe Boyd Castor has won here. First off of the claim, does today, and also does so off a pretty good layoff. Haven't seen this horse since September, and that was in Oklahoma and Texas. So this is a melting pot of jurisdictions. We see horses come from everywhere, and sometimes it can be pretty difficult to judge that form and if it's going to translate, and it did today for Kernon.
And Chiquita Reina rallied for second. I thought it was an aggressive early middle move for the 8-horse What's Her Number, but there'll be another day. We're going to take a quick time out here on America's Day at the Races.
That's 2 wins today.
we've been here since 1910. Started here with my great-grandfather. They moved the operation from Virginia to present-day Claiborne in Paris, Kentucky. Long lineage between my grandfather, Bull Hancock, who was really influential in importing European stallions. And those stallions ended up kind of transcending the American bloodstock, and they're still evident and prevalent throughout the pedigrees today. My father, he had Mr. Prospector. He brought him up from Florida. He's had Danzig. Obviously, Secretariat was his first stallion that he ever syndicated, so he caught lightning in the bottle right off the bat, and I'm trying to do the same thing now. Certainly, we've come along and been really lucky and gotten some really good stallions along the way. Warfront's obviously in the sunset of his career. He's been unbelievable for us. We're looking for someone to fill his shoes, and we're excited about Mindframe. We think he can be that next big horse for us. Annapolis has had his first foals on the ground, and they're looking unbelievable. Certainly Prince of Monaco, he has his first that are in utero, and we're looking forward to those foals in the spring. We've had a lot of wonderful clients over the years that have really supported us and backed us, and that's been one of the main reasons why we've had the success we've had. We couldn't do it without them. It's hard to be in business for 115 years if you're not doing things the right way. Our motto is do the usual and usually well, and we've always felt like if you take care of the horse is going to take care of you, and we've certainly been lucky in that regard.
America's Day at the Races is brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm, and they have been a great loyal supporter of ours since really the beginning of the show, and have such special feelings about Claiborne Farm, the first farm I ever visited, as we mentioned earlier, seeing Easygoer back there in 1994, my first trip to Lexington when I went down to Keeneland. Those years for the full meet, it was a lot of fun back then, as the number one for trainer Michael Gorham, Graceful Rose. You know, it's nice to see Mike get some wins here. He's a trainer, you know, horses have hit the board the 40% range here for years. He just rarely seems to win. Well, he seems like he's turning those seconds and thirds into wins as he gets his second win over the last few days. And I doesn't feel like a lot of horses have been that effective, Paul, running up through the inside. And this horse stayed right in the rail, angled a little bit off in the stretch, and just blew this field away.
Yeah, you know, had the pace to run into in front of him, but definitely made the inside work and got the split that he needed. And he just drew off at the end because there were some tired horses behind him. I know my two had made a little bit of a move, but was flattening out. Still ran okay to be second in here, and the 7 was spent by the time they got to the mid-stretch marker.
I don't think she had the pace to run into.
Really?
What other horses made up any ground?
No one really.
Exactly.
Actually, think about that. You're right. Actually, no one really did. Just the 2 was sitting in the pocket, and that was it.
Just much the best. It starts out your cross-country pick 5 at 946. Feels like a horse that could be a little bit higher in the pick 5 in race number 7 at Oaklawn. We just saw a 5-to-1 shot win, $12 and change, so you use that one in there. You got a parlay right now that's right around $60 for $2 after the first 2, so good start. Hope you're alive. 3 more races to go. Our last race, 2 more at Oaklawn as well, and our last race, looking at the board, says wide open.
Yeah, I mean, right now, lukewarm favorites, the 4, Toga Dan, who spent time on that dead rail last time out, also ran into some traffic issues as well. So it's a little bit of a trip horse in this spot.
And I apologize, by the way, the 6th race winner at Oaklawn was not part of it. I got confused because it was supposed to be run before our 7th race, but of course, because of their delay, they're a little bit behind us. So this race coming up, the 7th, will be the second leg of the cross-country pick 5. Apologies for that. But you got $12.60, and I was saying to you off camera about the winner, Kernan. The trainer, Boyd Castor, had only had 2 horses off the claim in the last 5 years in the dirt. And while he hadn't won, he finished 3rd at 22-1 and 5th at 44-1. So they both actually outran their odds. This one took a lot of money. Went up at 5-1 and won for fun.
Yeah, especially late, and Ramon Vasquez continues his hot hand.
I think you get a sign for every 10th win you get at Oaklawn. It's sort of like, I think that's his 80th win over the last 17 months or something. There's just a prize for everybody.
I love signs.
Yes.
So that's great.
500th win at Oaklawn.
500th win. This was he got a nice trip too in here. He gave this horse a nice trip, was able to get the room up there inside and be able to hold everyone off in the stretch, and he drew off in the ultimately at the end. So nice claim. She did, sorry. So for 10,000 and ran here for 16, ran pretty well.
Yeah, no, she was a facile winner of this race over the number 1A, Chiquita Reina. Another race, if I had bet, I would have lost. Not easy down at Oaklawn Park. Their 7th race coming up. field of 9. With a horse on the outside, Shanette. Looks like the favorite right now, the morning line favorite, 2-1. Though actually a little early money for Gin's Beach Road.
Yeah, 3-2 in this spot. This horse needs a better break. It's just had trouble.
Last
the last
speed,
3 starts. Yeah.
Used to have, you're right. This
Yeah.
horse started her career with speed, and when Mark had her up in Saratoga, she had speed. But it's funny, I'm looking at the pace projector. The 9 is projected to be in front, and the 5 is projected to be last. We'll see how that plays, early at least.
That 9's fast out of the gate. Watching the replays on that 9 is fast. She's quick.
All right, see what happens in race number 7 at Oaklawn. Race number 8, the last race here at Aqueduct coming up. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back.
Look at these two juveniles going at it, and it is Forte.
It is Forte in front. Forte on to victory here in the Grade 1 hopeful.
The two of them coming down to the wire. Forte on the outside, and Forte to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Forte starts to gather in the top horses. This is going to be very close, but the champion prevails. Forte wins.
Next weekend on America's Day at the Races, Saturday, catch Aqueduct's Gotham, a Kentucky Derby prep, plus Lafitte Pinkai and Maggie Wolfendale live from Oaklawn Park for the Razorback Handicap.
And they're off in the Razorback.
Then Sunday, special coverage of Oaklawn's Rebel, a key Derby prep, and the Honeybee is a prep for the Kentucky Oaks. Saturday's coverage begins on Fox Business Channel, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern on FS2.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races as we approach race number 8. We're in the paddock, and you are a bigger fan of the current favorite, Senegal, off the claim for trainer Tom Morley.
Yeah, I picked the horse third in this.
Oh, I thought you had this horse on top.
No, I have the 2 on top.
Apologize.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I have the 2 on top of there. Well, we're very excited because Tom took over the training of this horse, so we'll see what Tom can do off a win with this horse. This horse ran well, I thought, last time out. For the 30,000 non-winners of 2 tag, was able to get the job done in this spot. Actually got a good setup in front of him and was able to close into slower fractions, but just rolled by the leaders that were there and drew off in the end to get the job done. So gets back now into a starter condition in this spot, and we'll see what Tom can do first off the claim. Or is it more Maggie than Tom with this horse for first off the claim?
I don't know. Why don't we get more on? I think Maggie's more interested in the 2. You're in the 2. Maggie's going to start us off with some talk about Easy Bourbon as we head down to the paddock.
Yeah, I might need bourbon if you need me to talk about Tom's horse. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, Senegal looks great here, but taking a look at number 2, Easy Bourbon, as he is one that I've been waiting for him to get back to this mile distance on the dirt. It just seems like he's a horse that has kind of, been all over the map a bit here while he's trying to get his racing, career going again after lacking some consistency and showing up at the racetrack towards the latter end of last year. And as he came back last time, I just thought that maybe it was a good stepping off point. And now he gets back to a mile, which I think is ideal. The blinkers do go on him today, as he is one of 2 for trainer Mark Hennig, and he is just wearing a shortcut cheater blinker overall. Very fit, strong looking, laid back in the paddock, which I like to see. I like these horses to be a little bit more subdued in the way that they're acting if they're stretching back out in distance. So I do like what I'm seeing from Easy Bourbon. Yes, number 4, Toga Dam. He was against the racetrack last time out, dead rail day on January 15th, and he was on the rail. He was shuffled back going into the turn. He was able to shift out in the stretch, and he ran all mildly, but he did so on his inside lead. I don't love to see that. You always want to see horses kind of switch their lead, especially, you know, if it's kind of a new thing, them starting to do it. Look, he's a horse that consistently is well turned out here in the paddock, and maybe with a bit of a more fair racetrack, he can show us what he's really made of. And then number 6, Foregone, another horse that is stretching back out in distance after 2 back getting the win off the bench, going the 6 furlongs as Chad Summers looks for his 3rd win on this card. Now, physically, this horse is very well suited to more ground. He's enormous. He's just a big guy, and I like that, you know, Chad has been patient and has now waited till his 3rd start off the bench to stretch back out in distance. Looks great. I mean, he's really well turned out here, and I've always thought that possibly longer is better, at least given his physical makeup. Andy.
Thanks a lot, Maggie. Obviously, talking about Foregone. I thought another horse that was a little interesting in here is Romeo Void, coming off the maiden win for Amelia Green. I thought this horse was very impressive, and a couple of horses have come out of that race and improved their buyer figure significantly. She may be coming out, or he may be coming out of a very live race.
Yeah, and I guess the question also with this horse is do you think that this horse is going to be in front in this spot? Can this horse actually clear off if we see any speed inside? I mean, you know.
Well, I think your horse Easy Bourbon will have speed, and I think Foregone can be closer. There's not a lot of speed in here.
Yeah, I just feel like last time with this horse caught a little. And listen, the horse ran well, and the figure has played. But I just kind of feel like last time was kind of the time with this horse because the favorite projectability got off to a bad start, so this horse kind of ended up on the front end by himself. Again, not saying that he didn't run well. I just need to see it again to believe the figure again with him.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm going to strongly disagree with that sentiment. The figure is accurate. You look at Timeform US, they have the race faster than the buyer figure. You want to believe that this horse can run back to the number. I think it's a question of thinking, can that number be predictive? Figure is accurate. That was a fast race. Horses have come out of it. The 4th place finisher improved 15 points. The 5th place improved 7 points. So there is no way you can say that figure is wrong. It may not be predictive of the horse going forward, and it was obviously a big move up, but maybe this horse has just gotten better. It was the first time in the dirt in nearly a year.
It's possible that this horse has grown up now and has gotten physically better and gotten it together and put it all together. So we'll see. I'm just curious to see what happens if he does not make the lead in here. That was my biggest concern. If he doesn't make the lead in here, I'm not sure he can win this race.
I'm not sure he can't. We'll see how that thing works out. They're on the track. The one is Oath of Emerita going out for Jen Antonucci with Cancel.
Yeah, kind of moved up into the race after the first quarter mile last time. We'll see what we get today.
Sounds like you and Maggie both like the 2 Easy Bourbon, Mark Hennig and Jose Lezcano.
Blinkers going on. I think stretching out is going to help this horse.
Senegal off a big win last time with Jamie Rodriguez.
We'll see stepping into the starter allowance ranks again off that big win last time out.
I like Toga Dan off the trip for Dominus Coutinho and Manny Franco.
Yeah, had some traffic issues on that dead rail last time, too. I think can show better today. Definitely has some rebound potential. It's a nice price right now, too.
Another one for Mark Hennig is the 5 Mo Crisa, this one with Ricardo Santana.
Yeah, the pace kind of backed up last time for this horse, and I don't know. I think this horse is a little better turf horse than dirt horse.
The 6 Foregone goes out for Chad Summers and Louis Rivera.
Yeah, stretching out again for Dangerous Connections. We'll see where this horse is early on in the running.
And Amelia Green and Romeo Void close it out with Raylu.
Yeah, big race last time. We'll see what happens today and what kind of trip this horse can have from the outside draw.
See what happens in race number 8, one of our more competitive races on the card. And you look at the board, I like Toga Dan. As Maggie had mentioned, not only was this horse on a dead rail last time, but got badly shuffled out in the turn inside and just eliminated, and I thought ran a winning race that day. I just thought the horse made a lot of sense, has plenty of figs that are fast enough to win this race.
Yeah, I agree. And even you take a look at the race 3 starts back, I thought this horse ran well in that spot as well. It has some races that are peppered throughout the past performances that play very well here, and I think you're getting a nice price on this horse too at 5-1.
We're just about 6 minutes away from Oaklawn as well, and Richie is standing by with a special guest.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. I'm pleased to be joined by Jade Cunningham. Jade, you've got Jeanette. She's perfect so far, 2 for 2, a lot of natural speed. What are you expecting today?
I expect her to break good, and then just go to the front and hopefully hang on and get her first allowance win.
And you think that's her style, though? Just you don't want to take any of her speed away.
I don't. She got behind some dirt the other day while we were galloping, and she really did not prefer it. So we're just not going to mess with the style that's been working for her.
And you're having a really good meet. You're 3 for 8 here at Oaklawn. You got to be happy with the way things are going.
Yeah, we're got a really good crew, and I feel very blessed. So very excited.
Well, your filly looks good on the racetrack. Best of luck.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Guys?
Thanks a lot, Richie. Nice to see some new faces in the game, as Jeanette is currently the 5-2 second choice, with favoritism going to Gins Beach Road in the 7th at Oaklawn, but they're heading towards the gate for this race where you and Maggie like the 2. Who else scares you in here?
For me, I thought that the horse that scared me a little bit was your horse, Toga Dan, and Senegal as well, because I think they're 2 horses that, if anything does develop in front of them, they're the horses that I think are going to be coming late, especially the 4 horse, who I think last time the traffic issues and the rail were enough to stop this horse from having a good run, and I think this horse is definitely fast enough figures-wise to be a major factor in here.
I think it's highly unlikely it'll be a fast pace, which works against the 3 Senegal, who really doesn't have a lot of speed. I thought Senegal was dressed up by getting an absolutely perfect trip in a 4-horse field last time. Now, Tom Morley has exceptionally good numbers off the claim in general, with a very positive ROI. Off the claim in the dirt, in routes, he's 9 for 45 with a 255 ROI. His numbers off wins off the claim are good. So Tom does very well. He doesn't claim a lot of horses, but when he does well. And he's made some exceptionally good claims. More turf horses going back over the years that he's come back and won at big prices. Tom is a sharp trainer for claiming, and he doesn't claim that often.
Yeah, when he goes in to get them, they're well meant, going forward. So. Again, I just wonder if last time he did get the perfect trip and the perfect ride in that small field, but the pace wasn't overly taxing there either. It was just against a group of horses that just kind of got hungry and tired. So I wonder today if it's going to be a little bit different with a couple of horses on the front end in here.
It's a very funny board because you've got 6 of the 7 horses are pretty much the same price. 4 5-1s, a 6-1, now 5 5-1s and a 6-1. And this horse is the heavy favorite. And I find it hard to take a horse as the favorite that seems to be very likely against the dynamics of the race.
Yeah, especially if you do believe that the last time was a dressed-up race in a small field with a pace that came back to him. But the one horse kind of interests me a little bit just because he made that run early on into the race and then kind of just was steady the rest of the way. I don't know what kind of trip he's going to pull either, because he's the type of horse that's going to be a little bit further back early, but I could make a case for him a little bit.
Well, one way to look at it is he has only one figure that makes him competitive. The other way to look at it is his last start. Maybe he's improving. I did not like his chances in here. As far as Senegal, I am surprised he has separated himself this way as he's moving back into a non-winners of one New York bred race, a condition he has failed in time and time again, with his only 2 wins being a maiden race and a non-winners of 2 lifetime $30,000 claimer. Chris Griffin has the call of the 8th and final race here at the Big A.
2 out, 4 gone. Romeo Void. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Speed to the outside from Mo Creasa in the early mix, and towards the inside, here comes Easy Bourbon, Oath of Ermerda right there too. Easy Bourbon, Oath of Ermerda. They're going to take him out of the chute and hook up with a backstretch with Easy Bourbon ahead in front. Oath of Ermerda's right there, a close-up second. Then comes Mo Creasa, Blue Silks in third. Rushing up now is Senegal, and Jamie Rodriguez wants Senegal to be much closer, is taken third, is in the 3 path, 23.47, the opening quarter mile. 4 Gone is moving up the outside of the racetrack, is taken 4th. Mo Creasa's back to 5th, and 6th at the rail, that's Toga Dan. The trailer is Romeo Void. Pretty tightly packed, though, as they approach a half mile left to go. And holding that rail position, Oath of Omerta has now put ahead in front of Easy Bourbon, who's still there, is back to second though, and Senegal just waiting for the cue from third. Toga Dan is asked to do more at the rail, is in fourth. Mo Crease is in fifth. Losing ground there around the turn was Four Gone and Romeo Void. 47.49, a half-mile time, and Senegal, center of the racetrack, is still traveling towards the outside and looming on the top two. Senegal is just waiting for Jamie Rodriguez to say go, and Senegal now kicks for home. Senegal has quickly put a length and a half on Easy Bourbon, Oath of Omerta. Still battling on. There from the back gets Toga Dan, trying to run on with Mo Creases. They travel as a pair, but Senegal is well out in front. Starts to drift out here towards the middle portion of the racetrack. Senegal still with a comfortable enough margin. Senegal will give Jamie Rodriguez 3 on the afternoon. Toga Dan finishes second, then Mo Creasa and Easy Bourbon in 1 minute 40.60 seconds.
They bet it like it was a one-horse race, and it was a one-horse race. No idea how this horse ended up being a significant favorite. He wasn't on the morning line, and hard to see it, hard to imagine he was going to be forward. They knew, and they were right. He absolutely galloped the number 3 Senegal, Jamie Rodriguez, and Tom Morley as we head back to Oaklawn Park.
Yeah, thanks, Andy, as you guys wrap up the card at rainy Aqueduct. And we've got a really nice race here coming up. I'm going to start with the long shot before we dig into the horses. But I think the 4-horse, Just Be You, is too big a price. Listen, she's obviously had a hard time staying on the racetrack, was gone from September of 23 till May of 25, showed speed at Monmouth. But she is a big mare, a lot of size to her. She's trained by Dan Ward, previously trained by Hall of Famer Jerry Hollendorfer, who Dan Ward was a longtime assistant to. A lot of size to that mare,
Yeah.
And I think she's coming in off a very sharp work.
That's exactly what I saw from her as well in the paddock, Meg, how big and scopy she was, almost maybe indicating that this distance was just a starting point for her. The 6 furlongs she will travel today maybe just gave me more of a route impression, but I thought she looked fantastic. And as you mentioned, she's had some issues staying on the track, but at a bit price. I mean, in this kind of group, it's very competitive, and she's got the races to compete in here.
Yeah, I thought she was worth mentioning. You like the 5 Gins Beach Road from the White Hot Mark Cassidy barn, although he's cooled off a little bit. He's down to winning at only 42% here at Oaklawn.
What a stretch he's had, but I've liked this filly in her last 2. This is her last chance, but I will say this. She has gotten some pretty tricky trips. She has not gotten some good trips in her last couple. Last time out, it was just a chaotic race. She was shuffled back. I think this filly's better, when she is more forward, more engaged, more involved early, which I think she has the potential to do. As Christian Torres climbs right back aboard, but last time out, she was checked as well as Pahoho Dioro, who we saw also have trouble in that race. Then she split horses. She was in behind, and then she really ran on to be third. I thought was a well-fought third. As to me, she's the horse I want. I know Miss L does resurface in this race, but I thought she made a great impression. She's a full to a Grade 2 winner, and she's out of a Grade 1 winning dam.
My only concern with Gins Beach Road is her last 2 starts, she just didn't break as sharp as she had been previous. I hope that isn't becoming a habit or problematic. I like the 7 Miss Ellie. I like her versatility. I thought she raced against much better in the Bugle and didn't disgrace herself last time. And then, of course, on the outside, Jeanette with a lot of speed. We're going to have to send it right up to Matt Dinnerman for the call.
We're ready to go. And we're off. Gun twirl broke on top. Jeanette on the far outside, put into play per usual. Jeanette is naturally quickest, leads the way here. Gins Beach Road runs in the second spot, showing more speed than usual. Our Pretty Kitty down on the inside. Jeanette narrow lead on Our Pretty Kitty and Gins Beach Road. Up the creek between horses is going to have to tap on the brakes here. Takes back to fourth as a contentious tempo ensues up top. We come back to Miss Ellie, well aware they're together. Gun twirl second to last today, usually on the lead today. She's 6 lengths off the pace and a length to the trailer. Just Be You as they round the far turn. Jeanette narrow lead. Our Pretty Kitty holds the inside spot. They're going at it as they round the far turn. Our Pretty Kitty narrow lead. Jeanette right there. Gins Beach Road, absolutely no excuses for her. Tries to get closer at the top of the stretch where Jeanette leads the way. Our Pretty Kitty sticking to her, and Gins Beach Road is right there, 3 wide. They come down the lane. Our Pretty Kitty fending off Jeanette, who's starting starting to tire a bit. Gins Beach Road on the outside, but Our Pretty Kitty just opened up. Our Pretty Kitty and Abel Cedillo running away from the competition. Our Pretty Kitty by 3.5. Our Pretty Kitty full of run late. Gins Beach Road second, third home up the creek, and fourth goes to Shadette.
Well, it was Our Pretty Kitty, the one, took all the heat early from Shanetta, but held that rail position and shrugged her off, and then was able to just draw away at will from Gins Beach Road, who set a really nice trip.
No excuses for the 5 Gins Beach Road today. Ran on a bit better, but the number 1, Our Pretty Kitty. Last time out, she was shuffled. She did not have that early position as she did today, and she did. She fought valiantly on the front end, pulled away beautifully. And this was a $20,000 claim for Steve Manley as we take a look at the drone shot, just fighting out on the front end as the pace held, and she just drew off, as I mentioned, beautifully. But it seemingly she's an all or nothing type horse, Mig. You know, she's got 7 starts, 2 wins, and then those other 5 efforts, she's completely off of the board. So to me, it was pretty interesting just how game she was and impressive late. It just best career effort to date for her.
And more speed than she's ever shown previously. I mean, she really showed very, very good speed from that inside position. I'm getting the distinct impression, Megan, that the inside is where you want to be here at Oaklawn today.
Exactly. We saw a 15-1 shot earlier on in the card, just skim up the rail and be able to come from last to win. So inside is definitely where you want to be. This filly just ran her guts out. And I will say, you know, she's kind of had the tendency to drift in a little bit as well in some of her prior races. So just a little note of her, and had her ready to go second off of the bench. Last time out, I definitely think she needed the race.
Well, you get a horse that wants to lug in, you're already on the rail.
Exactly.
That is a big advantage, but a really nice effort from Our Pretty Kitty, who shrugged off the challenges from the speed and was able to draw away from the closers. We'll be back with more racing action on America's Day at the Races.
Well, we're just a little over 3 months away from the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival, Wednesday, June 3rd through Sunday, June 7th. The last one we'll be having up in Saratoga, and tickets are on sale now. Head over to belmontstakes.com/tickets for more information. We hope to see you up there. Well, it doesn't feel like Sovereignty will be running, but he obviously a very impressive winner of last year's Belmont Stakes, and this will be the last one at the 10 furlong distance as we head back to the new Belmont Park, and we back to the 12 furlongs in 2027.
Yeah, looking forward to this year. The racing should be great as well. It's always a solid week of racing top to bottom.
There you look at it, stakes all week. You've got New York Showcase Day on Wednesday, 4 stakes on Thursday, multiple grade ones among the 5 stakes on Friday. Of course, multiple grade ones on Saturday as well. We've actually moved the Just a Game back to Saturday. It was on Friday last year, True North as well. And the Poker and Soaring Softly will close it out on Sunday. And exciting weekend to be there as it is an appetizer for the meet that will begin just a few weeks later. 51 total days of racing in Saratoga this summer. We'll be back to 40 days starting again in 2027. As the number 3 Senegal heading back to the winner's circle with Tom Morley, of course, and Jamie Rodriguez getting the win. Much the best, took all the money, and won like it.
Yeah, and aggressive early on, too. Closer to the pace than we thought. I was worried about him running late. Should have been worried about him running early, but solid ride, solid trip in here. Just much the best in this spot, too.
Kind of a winner every step. Showed a lot more speed than he had shown in quite a while and dominated this field. My pick came in second, but was never beating this horse. Was second best Senegal, a dominating winner. So this horse paid $756 in the win end. And I'm thinking these 2 winners that paid, 7 and change and 9 and change in the cross-country Big 5. The winner at Oaklawn paid almost 12. I still think it's a pretty good start. So if you're alive in this cross-country Big 5, good luck. Hopefully, probably singled Hull and Ice in the Down the Dusty Road, which is the next race at Oaklawn Park, but Senegal gets it done. It was as simple as 3, 4, 5 heading back to Hot Springs for the winner's circle at Oaklawn Park, and it was Our Pretty Kitty dominating down in the inside.
That was a nice ride, too, by Cedillo in here because he took no prisoners, especially with the 9 horse on the outside who loves to be in front and was able to just hold that inside position and engage with the 9 basically the entire way. Was able to cut that corner and was able to get the job done, shake her off pretty easily, and hold off anybody that would be coming late. So heads up ride in here, and really ran well, I thought, in this spot, especially considering the speed that the 9 brings to the table.
All right, the number 1 gets it done, 1180 in the win for Our Pretty Kitty for trainer Steve Manley. Getting it done, as you say, getting it done fairly easily, running through the wire there. Down the front end.
Had to run,
1180 in the win, 152. In race number 7. Race 8, as we mentioned, is the feature at Oaklawn. It's the Down the Dusty Road, and Hull and Ice is currently 1-5, and it would shock me if she ever goes above the 1-5, as she has a massive edge over this field.
Especially with the scratch of Hush and Honey as well, who was going to be second choice
when was
anyway.
she scratched?
I guess she was a later scratch, yeah. That came out later on. So especially without her in the race now, I mean, this makes this horse just even more the most likeliest winner in this spot.
She literally cannot lose on paper. We'll see what happens. Paul, thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.
Had you here the last couple of days. You'll be stepping out. Maggie Wolfendale will be joining me on the set here at Aqueduct. Of course, much more action coming at Oaklawn Park, so stick around. Still got 3 races back there. Thanks again, Paul.
Always.
We'll see you after a quick break.
$1,600,000, thank you.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing, get expert picks, Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the NYRA Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with NYRA Bets.
A provision in a bill passed this summer reduces the tax deduction for wagering losses from 100% to 90%. This unfair change would tax horse players on a percentage of their losses, could cost over $1 billion in handle, and threaten thousands of jobs in the racing industry. That's why the NTRA is fighting to pass the Wager Act, a new bill that would restore the deduction to 100%. Tell Congress to pass the Wager Act. Visit ntra.com/wager.
On June 6, 2019, a new chapter began at Alapa when Hillendale transferred its operations to the famed Kentucky Station and Thoroughbred Nursery in Paris, Kentucky, on a farm that traces its origins to 1827.
We're trying to be progressive, thoughtful, and respectful to what's already been here, the intent of the farm, along with trying to become efficient and modern.
The 1,400-acre Alapa is driven by its owner John Sciacca's passion to return the landmark farm to its original glory. The extensive restoration includes building a brand new breeding shed out of stone and concrete, matching the training barn that's been converted to be a stallion barn and now houses a roster of world-class stallions. Hillendale also built 8 new barns, plus adding landscaping and building tens of miles of fence, plus adding roads and utilities. Sciacca appreciates the daily inspiration the farm gives him.
There's the ruins of an old dairy barn, which is it's like a beautiful relic. It's peaceful and quiet. There's waterfall ponds behind the house, behind the office. There's many unique, peaceful, great parts of the farm that create peace and a sense of understanding where you are and how unique the farm is.
Sciacca is now focused on making new history at Alapa.
When you think of all that living history, it makes you respectful of the barn and who's been housed there, and then also a responsibility of trying to keep that same standard and try to move it forward and be historic in what we do, so that when someone would look back 50 years from now, they have a feeling of obligation for them to do the same here.
America's Day of the Races is brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. Looks like a gorgeous place. Maggie, nice to have you back in town. Nice to have you on the set.
Yeah, nice to be up here. Luckily, I didn't get as rained on as I thought I was going to do.
It kind of stopped before the show started.
Yeah, no, I was thankful for that, because when I walked in today, I was like, oh man, I'm not looking forward to standing out in this.
My umbrella didn't do well walking from the subway
to
the track.
Faulty umbrella.
No, the umbrella was fine. It was those Belmont Park umbrellas. Those umbrellas are awesome.
They're
last
huge.
forever.
They're like
No, it was the wind was blowing. I was holding the top of it to try. It was just.
If anybody has footage of this, please send it
Yes,
my way.
it's hard enough for me to walk at the same walk anyway, but with the umbrella, it was a bit much. Anyway, they were in the paddock for race number 8, and you, like me, hadn't even realized that the horse who would have been second choice, Hush It Honey, who was really the only competition on paper, the favorite near, she was a late scratch, and I know they're betting on Caliente Star, but I mean, what race does she have that makes her even mildly competitive with Hall and Ice?
Well, as you said to me, I mean, shouldn't Hall and Ice be 1 to 9 come post time here?
She should pay 210 in this race. I'm serious.
I mean, 100%. With the 2 out, I did find her incredibly intriguing. I hope that she comes back at some point today, but I mean, Hall and Ice, she's the Arkansas Bred of the Year. She'll accept that award, I think, in April. And she is also the richest Archie bred. And she just has she has speed, but she's also shown as of late that she can still be effective if just off of it.
She's looking to become, I believe, the first Arkansas-bred millionaire, which is kind of cool. And I mean, she's a really neat horse. She's talking about a horse that I know she didn't run that well, but she ran in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, she's 10 for 19 lifetime with 5 seconds. You take out the turf race, right? And you know, then she'd be 10 for 18. She's a very, very good horse. She's really one of the better filly and mare sprinters in the country.
And she really didn't even disgrace herself at all last time when she tried the turf.
Yep.
For her first try. I mean, Moonspun, she came back and won. And I'm sorry, I have a little bit of a problem with that very subjective short comment and saying hung. Well, couldn't have Moonspun just run really well? To me, I didn't look like she ever gave up.
I agree. I thought, you know, hung is something that they don't use that often. Matt Tinnerman actually had a call the other day, and he was dead right when he said it. I think it was yesterday, saying a horse that hung, and he was right that the horse hanging is kind of a bit of hanger, but I agree. I just thought the other horse dug in. We'll get more from Meg, who's standing by in the paddock at Oaklawn.
Well, just taking a look at these Arkansas-bred fillies and mares, the number 8, Haul and Ice. It's her race to lose, guys. She looks fantastic. She looks very much Haul and Ice-esque. I will say this, judging from maybe just watching past shows, watching her just experience the tighter-quartered Oaklawn paddock that she gets back to. We know she loves it here on the racetrack, but she can get kind of sharp on her toes. She was very skittish. She's very just... not the best actor here in the paddock, but she kind of has her moments, and then she'll settle back into her own routine. So it's not as if she's way over the top, but she's certainly on the cusp of bubbling over in here. But it's very typical of her. She's done this in the past. She'll get to a place like Aqueduct, and it seems to settle her down, as she did in the Vagrancy last spring. She looks absolutely fantastic. She's tucked up. She's fit. She's just an out-and-out sprinter. I understand why they tried turf with this horse, and judging by Safi Joseph's comments on her, she might even try it again. They're really looking to get her at this milestone, the most expensive Arkansas bred of all time, as she will earn her second trophy on April 3rd as Arkansas bred horse of the year. But I think she's going to be the controlling speed here. She's just faster than these horses, though she has shown the ability to rate. She looks fantastic. And, man, I think that, Maggie and Andy, you're right. As far as that's concerned, I thought her last race on the grass was very impressive, and that was against a winner who came back with a 99 Beyer speed figure out of that, so no shame in defeat there. But the number 4, She's a Dreamer. You're going to get a price on anybody else in this race. It's who to find other than Haul and Ice, right? And the number 4, She's a Dreamer, it just caught my eye physically as she came up. You know, she is coming off a pretty stout layoff there. Haven't seen her since April of last year. She looks great off of the bench. She's another one that's just kind of not the most settled as far as her disposition in the paddock, but she's kind of almost longer in her frame. She doesn't have a whole lot of leg to her. Almost kind of built a little bit funky, honestly. I think that 6 furlongs is what she wants, but just from her mid-body and her frame, you would maybe indicate a little bit more distance. But I think she's maybe got some races in there off of prior to the layoff that could potentially spice up the exotics. But Andy, I don't see anybody in here that's beating the number 8 Haul and Ice in this group today.
Thanks a lot, Meg. Haul and Ice, I think at 2 to 5, I may have to bet.
Yeah, I think I'm opening up Naira bets. I think I have about $9 left in my Naira bets account. I think I should just put it all on her.
I have more than $9, but less than I had a little while ago. Yeah, as she goes up to 2 to 5. We just wanted to digress for a second. I saw a story from Dave Grenig. Gary Sciacca is retiring.
Yeah, you know, he kind of stepped away. I knew that he had back issues, I believe, a couple years ago, and then he kind of got a few horses in the last couple years. But, you know, I suppose when you've kind of had enough, it's time to enjoy your life a bit.
Absolutely.
And Gary is one of those true racetrack
no doubt.
characters. And boy, I mean, he had so much success over the years. Saratoga Dew.
She was a
obviously
very nice horse.
to
Dr.
mind
Kiernan
immediately.
was a horse he had that I like.
Uh-huh.
I always liked Dr. Kiernan
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
And he had training. He had says he had won 1,031 races from 12,614 starts. So Dave Grenig reporting in DRF, and we all wish Gary the best. He certainly has a good sense of humor.
He does.
Always fun to
He
joke
always
around
makes
with
you
Gary
laugh.
when you see him. No question about it. So I'm sure we'll see him around a little bit. But we wish Gary good luck in his retirement. Maybe we'll talk about it a
Enjoy
little
it.
bit more. Yeah, we'll have to get a little interview or something with Gary before he leaves us.
Love to.
But, I don't even know where you go in this race. I mean, at least if Hush It Honey was in, there's sort of another horse to talk about. And I don't want to knock Caliente Star, but when she becomes the clear-cut second choice, and look at the odds. I mean, she's 3-1 and the next price 11-1. I mean, I don't see any way she can beat Hall and Ice unless Hall and Ice just completely fails to show up. And the thing about Hall and Ice is she always shows up.
Always. Like you said, I mean, the one kind of blemish on her record is in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint, but are you really going to hold that against her? Running against some of the best horses in the country. And, if Caliente Star is 3-1 in here, I don't want any part of her.
Right.
You know what I mean?
If you want to get, you thought she was a little interesting. She was 15-1. The other thing about it is, not only is Hall and Ice considerably better than these horses, she's also the controlling speed. So where is the scenario where, I mean, honestly, she gets out of the gate, she's going to win this race.
The only horse that I think is interesting, and purely from an exacta point of view, is Our Pirate Treasure. I mean, goes from...
Our Pirate Treasure.
Oh, you did it. Well done.
There's Tom Durkin when you need him.
Yeah, exactly.
We always need Tom Durkin.
We always do. But a funny Durkin thing. But Our Pirate Treasure, I mean, she goes from a low-profile trainer to the winningest trainer in North America, in Steve Asmussen. I know she has yet to run a race remotely in sniffing distance of Hall and Ice's, but I will say she comes out of a decent race with Philly Crystal coming back. She did repeat, but she did regress 5 points. But I just thought that if you're going to play an exacta in here, she's the one that I would use because at least she doesn't have to play Hall and Ice's game. You know she's going to be closing.
But I mean, even for the trainer, and just to be, and we're not trying to beat up on a trainer with a lower percentage, but it's a trainer in 2025 is a 1 for 66, and she's running figures in the high 60s, which makes her at worst sort of the third fastest horse in this race. And as you say, it's a very smart claim by Steve. It's like he was waiting for this horse to drop in right before this race, too, where she finished 4th last year. I think we're doing the post parade, but they're not. They're lining up for the post.
We're in charge.
While we have a time, let people know. Naira Bets. If you're not a member, head on over to nairabets.com. Use the promo code BONUS200, and we will match the $200 of your initial deposit. Play through Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, any time as the horse is preparing to make the turn here. And I think it's a good point about Our Pirate Treasure. Of course, many people remember that horse, that Tom always loved calling. And
The other day, Grace asked me, Mommy, what famous people are born on my birthday? I said, well, Winston Churchill, Mark Twain, and Tom Durkin. And she kind of looked at me. I was like, don't even question it. He is the best race caller in history.
the greatest.
Yeah.
True legend in this game. That's a pretty good birthday.
Isn't it?
Churchill, Mark Twain, and Durkin. Wow, I like
said-
that. Tell her I'm that moves her way up to me.
Way up, right?
The one street painter goes out for trainer Aaron Shorter and Christian Torres.
I mean, look, she got the win last time out. It was a persistent win, but she's facing a world of better horses here.
Number 2, Hush It Honey, is scratched, waiting for the 3, Our Pirate Treasure. Maggie's looking for that cold 8-3 exacta.
Yeah, with Eric Asmussen in the irons for his dad, Steve. Wondering if, Steve and his team can move this mare up. Like we said, it looked as though she was claimed with purpose.
The layoff horse, She's a Dreamer, goes out for Terry Yuff.
Look, she is facing a tough group here for her first start as a 4-year-old.
The 8-3 exacta is $10 for a buck. You're going to cost me some money here, Mag. The 5, Caliente Star, the clear second choice, Ron McQuett.
Right, does move to Ron Moquette. Was flattered when Foie Gras came back and won again with a 91 buyer.
6, Morally Complex.
She's turning back in distance as the blinkers go on, but her 2 races locally have been terrible.
Seemed like a Klarovich name, actually. The Seven Ministries Destiny went by, and here's the favorite, Hall and Ice.
Oh, looking good. I'm a big fan of this mare, and she's looking to go back-to-back here in this down the dusty road, in which that was the kickstart of her 4-race win streak last year.
And second off a layoff, Ms. Carroll County outside with Kelsey Haar.
Must be a Carroll County in Arkansas. There was one in Maryland that bordered my county.
Probably not named for the one in Maryland, though.
Correct.
I could be wrong.
At times, she's run some fast races, but they are few and far between.
The MiG is standing by with Ron McQuett.
Yeah, thanks, Annie. So pleased to be joined by Ron. Ron, you have Caliente Star here. Tall order with Hall and Ice in here, looking to become the first Arkansas bred to ever earn $1 million. But your filly's been ultra consistent.
Yes, she come to me in good shape from Tammy Hornsby, who's done a wonderful job with her, and we were happy to have her. And you know, it's kind of fun to try one of the best that ever did it for Arkansas breds in the first time you run her. But we're excited to see where we're at.
What kind of trip would you like to see for your filly?
Sitting about 3rd or 4th, and them going too fast in front of us. But you know, you need some good stuff to happen when you're running against a filly that is as nice as Hall and Ice.
The Hall and Ice on the cusp of being the first millionaire Arkansas bred. I think it speaks volumes, though, to the success of the Arkansas breeding program.
Well, that's what we're trying to do here. We're wanting people to bring better horses here and to really represent the Arkansas breds outside of Oaklawn. But luckily, the purse structure is enticing people to get involved, and you know, as you can tell by you know, the representation we have today, they're starting to get a lot better breds.
It really is good. And, you know, I was looking, Christian Torres already earned $2.4 million in purse earnings here. We've seen activity at the claim box like record levels.
Yeah, I think there's 34 more claims to date this year than there were last year, and I know there's almost $1 million more spent in claim purses. So the state of Arkansas and the city of Hot Springs loves the tax money, I'm sure, but it's a, you know, crazy ravenous pace that they claim at. It's because of the purse structure, I believe, and the fact that everybody brings horses here ready to run.
Well, they do a lot of things right here at Oaklawn Park. We got full fields, and we got a good one coming up. Maybe we're going to see the first Arkansas bred to earn $1 million.
Well, it'll be very hard for her not to go over $1 million in earnings because all she has to do, I think, is finish 4th.
Yeah, exactly, which she's probably unlikely to do.
I like the idea of $1 million meaning something. And it's one of the things I don't like about these big purse races in the Middle East. They've kind of ruined purse earnings. You know, you think about, I started the game, Forgo was one of the few $1 million horses. He tried to get $2 million his last start and he didn't get it. It was kind of course, Kelso had done so well. And I remember, you know, Ancient Title, horses like that. Now winning $1 million, this isn't a big horse to do it in an afternoon, running second.
Exactly.
Or
we don't
third.
have to win anymore, right? You know, I always love looking through PPs, and maybe it's, you know, a starter allowance field full of older horses, and you see a horse that has made, you know, 400,000 to 500,000, but yet they have, you know, 50, 60, 70 starts. They've done it the hard way. Yep. They are the true backbone of this game, and I always hold them in the highest regard.
One of my favorite horses when I was young and I just got into the game was Pearl Necklace, who was a Maryland bred, I believe.
Yep.
Roger Lauren trained her. And she put on some great race against Weah.
Yeah.
Finished second to her, and I think at the time was a track record, a mile and 1/8 up in Saratoga, the Diana. And I remember you look at her record, I think she won like $450,000 roughly. And, you know, the hard way. I mean, just, you know, the kind of horse nowadays, she might have won $3 or $4 million. And those are, you know, those horses, you don't have that because horses don't make as many starts now, especially the best horses.
Yeah.
And to me, those are the horses that help make me fall in love with the game.
Yep, absolutely. I was actually, it was funny. We were at my mom's house with the girls, and my mom had a framed picture of an article that was written about me and my off-track thoroughbred when I was a teenager in the Mid-Atlantic Thoroughbred. And she goes, takes it off the wall. She's like, "Mommy, you have an article written about you?" And I said, "Well, you know, Mom's famous." No, I'm kidding. But then I read the article, and I looked back at what my horse at the time had done, and he had made 65 starts, I believe, and made over 500,000, and that was late 80s, early 90s.
Love that. Yeah, those
you
horses
know,
are the great
won
backbone
9
of the game.
times. Yeah.
Much like the MiG as we head back to Arkansas.
Well, a horse that comes to mind immediately when you talk about those old warriors was Creme de la Fête. I believe 150 starts, 40-something wins from 150 starts. We don't see horses run like that anymore.
We don't, but we've got a really cool commodity in the number 8 Holland Ice for Safi Joseph, and it's really hard to see anybody else in this race but her. This is horse racing. This game can be sometimes, it can shock you, but I don't see anybody getting around her today, Meg.
No, it really feels like something traumatic would have to happen for Holland Ice not to get it done here. She's consistent. She runs faster than anybody else on a normal scale, and she's versatile. She can show speed. She could lay just off. I mean, it's really hard to find a weakness.
There isn't, and it's also just the pure class. Everybody in here, I feel like, is just taking a shot into the dark and trying to get some of that black type in these Arkansas bred stakes, which is essential, you know, moving that breeding program forward. We see this with New York breds trying to get, of course, New York bred black type. So, I mean, it's commendable, and I love that this is still a pretty solid field considering just how large she looms, in this field. And, you know, with the number 2, Hush It Honey, coming out, you kind of have to search around. I landed on the number 4 underneath of Holland Ice, as I mentioned. She made a nice impression on track, and I think in the paddock as well, trying to hopefully make an indentation coming off of a pretty solid layoff.
Well, she is 2 for 4. I mean, she obviously something went awry in her last start back in April of last year, but her 2 previous starts looked like she was heading in the right direction. And I just liked how light on her feet she was when she galloped off. She looks fit, and I thought she was a little bit interesting. Caliente Star would be another one from the Ron Moquette barn that, listen, she's 3 for 6 lifetime. She's earned $250,000, and she's already a Arkansas bred stakes winner.
She is. She won the Rainbow Miss here last April, and she's got fast enough races to compete. She's kind of on that same level as far as just Arkansas bred stakes quality horses that you would see run in these races. She's one that's pretty tactical, though. I wouldn't say maybe overtly tactical. She kind of comes from off of things, and I wonder with Holland Ice up there on the front end if she's hopefully not going to leave herself with too much to do. But I loved her when I saw her last time out in the Oaklawn Anywhere. That was a much tougher spot. I thought she looked fantastic coming off of the layoff last time out, and a move in the right direction feels logical for her in this spot as well.
And it feels like Ron Moquette's barn's starting to heat up. She kind of had a little bit of a lull. Things just weren't hitting on all cylinders, but they're starting to hit the board with regularity. That kind of tells me when a barn is kind of shaking off maybe some of that kind of cobwebs, if you will.
Getting the dust shaken off. But as far as, you know, building off of what Maggie had said about Steve Asmussen here with a horse that he owns, he claimed for $25,000, the number 3, Our Pirate Treasure. It's astute. I mean, this horse was competing in races in Arkansas bred stakes, and it also kind of feels like maybe claimed with a plan here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, trying to take advantage of that lucrative Arkansas bred program. And, you know, we talk about it. What does it mean when there's, you know, horses bred in one jurisdiction? Well, there's about 18,000 foals a year right now. And, you know, about 250 of them are Arkansas bred. So you're just cutting the gene pool down dramatically with your competition. Holland Ice, she's a mare to be admired. My father-in-law, my late father-in-law, Sam, was called Sam the Iceman because back in the day, before refrigerators were commonplace in people's homes, he would be hauling ice up into the walk-ups in New York City. He actually grew up in Harlem, and he had one shoulder shorter or like drooping more than the other from carrying the big blocks of ice. So hauling ice, Sam the Iceman, 1 to 5. Let's send it up to Matt Dinnerman for the Down the Dusty Road.
The next 2. Caliente Star, post 5. And to the outside, Miss Carroll County to round out the field. We're ready to go. And we're off in the Down the Dusty Road Breeders' Stakes. A stumble at the break from She's a Dreamer. Hall and Ice, the favorite, broke alertly and professionally, goes right to the lead. Is naturally quickest. Opens up a length and 3/4 on Miss Carroll County, who runs in second. Caliente Star third with our Pirate Treasure and a Deep Ministry's Destiny easing off that pair. Then comes Street Painter, the Grays down on the rail. Morally Complex at the back of the field as they go towards the far turn. Hall and Ice cruising at that high cruising speed of hers. She's opened up 3 on Miss Carroll County, sent along from the second spot. Caliente Star third with our Pirate Treasure down on the inside. Street Painter is next. She's a Dreamer has given way. Ministry's Destiny now second to last, and Morally Complex at the back of a strung out group. Hall and Ice is cruising. She's opened up 5. Francisco Arrieta takes a peek back and says, let's go. Shakes the reins at her mildly. She responds, opens up with a 7-8 length lead. It's an insurmountable lead for Hall and Ice. Here she comes down the stretch. She is the first ever Arkansas-bred millionaire, and here is North America's newest millionaire, Hall and Ice, an Arkansas-bred legend. One for fun, double-digit lengths in the end. Caliente Star was second, Miss Carroll County third, and fourth was our Pirate Treasure.
An overlay at 1 to 5. You don't get to say that too often. As Hall and Ice did exactly what you expected her to do, and it's a nice way to make her a $1 million winner.
This was just so easy, as you suspected it would be for her. Just a flick of the reins by Francisco Arrieta here, and she's got her ears flicking back and forth as well, and so cool. Like we were saying, you know, for an Arkansas bred to become a millionaire, it's not something you say every day, and she is far outrun her pedigree, and she's just sensational.
Her 11th win in 20 starts, Richie.
I just love, she's a gem of consistency, shows up, never was in danger. Stopped the clock at 108.3, that's racehorse time. Track has been a bit on the glib side today, but this was a tour de force. She was so good, Andy, Maggie, I could have rode her and she would have got it done today. I mean, that was as easy a win as possible.
I would say all 4 of us left from the show, 3 of us could have won on her. Me being I would have fallen off coming out of the gate. So if I was even courageous enough to get on her in the first place, but the rest of you, I think, could have won on her. But, you know, listen, I'm a horse player first, but I appreciate the game, and she's the kind of horse that you have to appreciate.
Absolutely here, and winning even more impressively than what she did in this race last year. Just an amazing career. Like you said, Andy, 11 for 20, and with those 5 runner-up finishes, horses don't usually have that type of record.
I'm going to have to look at my iPad and take a look at what happened. She's 7 for 9 with 2 seconds at Oaklawn. How did she lose twice?
Oh my goodness! I'll have to.
Must have been the beginning of her career.
Yeah.
Well, she put on a show today, as we said, a free bingo square in the Cross Country Big 5. We'll be right back. The Winner's Circle lead-in is brought to you by Fasig-Tipton Digital, North America's #1 digital platform for thoroughbreds. Learn more about our auction schedule at digital.fasig-tipton.com. Let's get digital. $240 on Hall and Ice was an overlay.
Yeah, as you said, paid 30 cents more than she should have here. Caliente Star, look, the public had it right, making her the second choice, but she was barely able to run by long shot Miss Carroll County.
Yeah, she did just get up as Miss Carroll County actually ran very well, outran her odds. Megan standing by with the connections of winning horse Hall and Ice.
Well, Mark and Bill, of course, Mark with Cornette and C2 Racing and Hall and Ice, the newest millionaire. I said, dinner's on you guys tonight with your millionaire status there. What an iron horse she is.
Boy, she is. She's something special. I'll tell you what, she fires every time. She really wants to be a racehorse, so she's fun to watch.
Safi had mentioned you might even try her on the turf later in the year, as she did come off and do that last time out.
Yeah, she ran huge on the grass, and we're kind of excited. There's not too many Grade 1 sprint opportunities on the dirt, so we're very happy. You know, we got Kentucky Downs coming up and some other good spots.
Bill, how did this partnership come to be and now getting involved with such a talented Archie bred?
Oh, she's an amazing horse, and you know, we have deep Arkansas roots. We lived in Arkansas for a long time, and when Mark raised the possibility or the opportunity of getting on board, we just jumped right at it, and it's just been a dream, and I thank him, and Safi's done a great job with the horse. It's just a pleasure to be around.
Really has. You're going to accept yet another Horse of the Year Arkansas bred trophy with her, but what could be the next step in story? You're going to keep her here for the matron?
Yeah, we're gonna send her back to her base at Palm Meadows in Florida, and then she'll ship up like she did here for the matron again. We'll try to defend that title.
Absolutely, as you should. Congratulations, guys. Hope to see you as she tackles yet another Arkansas bred, or excuse me, open foe stake in her next try.
Yeah, thank you.
Andy?
Thanks a lot, Meg. Don't get seduced by Kentucky Downs.
I know.
The
money's there. That's
yes,
the whole
yes.
problem.
Well, we'll discuss that a little bit more when we discuss a race coming up tomorrow as we go back and take a look at the cross-country pick 5. But, you know, you get the free bingo square with this horse. But, you know, you look at, like, the parlay was around, somewhere around close to $250 going into that race. So even with it basically being a pick 4, if you're alive, I would imagine that the will pays are pretty good here.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially if something crazy happens in the 9th race coming up at Oaklawn, in which we'll take a look here at the field. You know, Andy, at the end of the day, I thought it was somewhat wide open here. And at 2-1, she called who projected to be the favorite. She got a couple 4 and 5 to 1 shots on there too. That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like Promise Me an Empire in here. Actually,
Yes, comes out of a very live race.
That's what I thought. I mean, I know the Remington races aren't always as strong, but she's run good figures at Churchill and even at Oaklawn. So I think she can bring that form. I kind of had the race 5, 8, and 11, but I don't think the 8's supposed to be an overwhelming favorite here.
No, I thought she was game in defeat last time, but she was the favorite. So I don't know how many excuses you want to make up for her for that loss last time out. So I thought the 5 was very live in here.
And stick around as we go to break, because one of maybe my favorite feature is coming up, the feature on No Double. And if you're not familiar with the Archie bred No Double, stick around to see the feature. It really is terrific, and the No Double will be run tomorrow at Oaklawn Park.
And it's lights out. Locked, pouring it on, running aggressively through the stretch to win by 7 easy lengths.
Here is Locked. Locked racing by on the outside for the lead. Locked, the wine steward, it is Locked.
Here comes Locked after Mulligan. Locked catching with every single stride, and Locked will win the Cigar Mile.
It's all about Locked, dominating the big cap, cruising home to an effortless 8-length romp.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the NyraBets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing, get expert picks, boost your bankroll with weekly promotions, and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the NyraBets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with NyraBets.
They come on for the finish in the Pilgrim Stakes. Annapolis by a head.
It is Annapolis in front. It is Annapolis to win the Coolmore Turf Mile.
This is the Arkansas Derby that was won in '68. That's my mother right here, my father. My dad was Gene Goff. He was basically in the oil business. He was in Australia and had read up on the English bloodlines and all. So he bought 41 horses and brought them to Australia. The last horse he bought was No Home II. No Double was in the first crop, and he actually ran in a $7,500 claiming race at Detroit in September of '67. When you win by about 13 lengths, they take a notice. You go to the head of the class real quick. And then went to the Arkansas Derby. This is a No Double scrapbook my father, Gene Goff, put together of some of the clippings. He set a track record at Belmont, set a track record at Santa Anita. He equaled a track record at Hawthorne in Chicago. The biggest race, I think the most exciting, was probably in Detroit. Won the Michigan Mile. He beat Damascus, Horse of the Year, and was fifth or second off track record in that race. He became known as the 100 Grand Specialist or the Arkansas Traveler. This is very interesting here. This is a map that Pebb, the great artist, drew. This is called the Arkansas Traveler. It's No Double scale. His average weight was 127 pounds. He won $846,749. The Goff of Arkansas, named after Goff. A lot of memories, a lot of memories. Oaklawn, they've named a barn after him, but the greatest memory is in the lobby of the Oaklawn Hotel, the trophies. It's really something to see. No Double is the biggest Arkansas bred. He was twice Older Horse of the Year. In 1981, he was the leading sire in the world with 16 stakes horses, the most that anybody had, and the most progeny earnings, $2.6 million that any stallion had had. He bred some good horses and all, and he's not in the Hall of Fame. He's an Arkansas bred.
I just love that feature in here. He was first made $846,000 back in the late '60s. I mean,
what a cool horse from the Brooklyn. Like, wow.
I mean, there were so many good horses. Seeing Bert Sagnier's name, and Bert was still training down in Florida in the winters. He's a Midwest trainer in Florida in the winters, and I was going down there. But I just love that, and you can just see how much he loved that horse too.
Absolutely, and Dash, who, as you're talking about, is never too far away from that trophy that is in the Oaklawn lobby. He is a fixture at the lobby bar and is very gracious with, entertaining and buying people drinks. So real character, and as you said, a horse that definitely deserves to have a race named after him at Oaklawn.
No, quite. He deserves to have a race named after probably a number of places, and those are the kind of horses that we were talking about earlier. Those incredibly talented horses that showed up, all the time, and he ran against the best horses in the country. He's not a horse who was sitting around, running against Arkansas breds. He was quite the racehorse. I just love that feature, and we do have the No Double tomorrow, which probably a little more competitive than today's Down the Dusty Road.
God, and he jumped around all over the country in a time where it was pretty hard to do that in the late 60s.
Yeah.
But taking a look at that race, we do see a matchup, Andy, between Bohemian Bow and Navy Seal in here, as we'll take a look back here at December 20th, where we see several of these coming out of, but Bohemian Bow would ultimately prove best, does have that lethal early speed.
Well, he has the same pace advantage he had in this race.
Yep.
Now, it got very, very close at the end, but Bohemian Bow looks like the controlling speed once again in this race, and I think Navy Seal can sit closer, but from a dynamic standpoint, the edge goes to Bohemian Bow.
Absolutely. And Willow Creek Road, we haven't seen since that same race, but I did think, a promising return to the races after his form had kind of gone south at the tail end of the meet, if you will, at Oaklawn. Made his first start for Rudy Brissett last time out and kind of got back to some of his better races.
Yeah, no, I thought he ran fine in there. He'd have to step forward. The thing is, horse like Navy Seal and Bohemian Bow have a plethora of fast races.
Right.
Now, they have Touchdown Arkansas as the 3 to 1/3 choice.
That's a
Is
joke,
this
right?
horse really going to be similar odds to the aforementioned
one race.
horses?
He has one race.
Just seems overall just a little slow, right?
Yeah, exactly. When he won his A other than against Archie Breds, that is the only race that I think could make him a possible threat to your favorite.
I agree. I mean, this horse is going to have to improve off the last effort. I mean, I think Nikolai Obedam is okay, but, Bohemian Bow and Navy Seal are just better horses than he is.
And to the body of work, yes. Of course, as always with lightly raced younger, well, he's not younger, he's 5, but lightly raced horses, there is that perceived upside. But as far as wagering, I think it's a much better proposition when you take that proven form, the short prices on those horses.
Yeah, it's hard to see him at a similar price to the 3 and 4 Bohemian Bow and Navy Seal. We'll find out more about that race tomorrow. Of course, we'll be on tomorrow for a full day. We'll take a break. We'll be back with the $5 late double at Oaklawn Park. A nice view of Oaklawn Park as we get back to America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by NyraBets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime through NyraBets. When are you heading to Oaklawn?
Next Friday.
Oh,
So
you're
this coming Friday.
you're going next weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, you're leaving me again.
I'm sorry.
It's your first trip this year, right?
Yes, it is my first trip.
All right. We'll have fun. Rebel
Thank
weekend.
you.
Rebel is on Sunday.
Sunday.
Yes,
Yep, they
the
moved it.
Gotham
Yeah.
and Gotham is here on Saturday. The
Yeah.
Fountain of Youth will be at Gulfstream, and the Rebel will be on Sunday. I think we're on from 2 to 7 next Sunday.
Correct.
For the Rebel, and next Saturday they'll only on 3:30 to 7 as we will be covering the Gotham. We're on Fox Business next Saturday.
Okay. All right.
There you go. Have to figure out where that is.
Yeah.
Horses are on the track for race number 9. Already gone through this race, and this race will close out the cross-country pick 5. I think I'll go to NyraBets and bring up the will pays for the cross-country pick 5, and so we can go through
on the
that.
wrong day for Oaklawn.
Take a look.
I was like, how is the nut? Never
Yeah,
mind.
I mean, the 8 is the favorite, is $451 for 50 cents, and the parlay is about $60 with the free square, maybe $70 with that. So tremendous value in that cross-country pick 5, and we haven't even had a particularly big price winning.
Nope.
It's just square prices.
Right, exactly.
The one is Bachelor Party.
Yeah, Bachelor Party loves to go back to back here. Was not flattered when the second place finisher came back and only posted a 57 with her win.
Trainer Boyd Castor looking for his second win. Kentucky Starlet, the number 2.
Doubt it comes with Kentucky Starlet.
Number 3, Amelia's Echo goes out off the claim for Sean Williams.
Took 10 tries to break her maiden, but dropped down to a 12.5 at 4 Calbreds at Del Mar.
Number 4, Cheetos Blur.
Does have to come off of a layoff here and probably find a race she hasn't run yet.
I prefer Promise Me an Empire, the 5.
Yeah, I mean, even the horse who won, while she didn't win, she ran an 80 while finishing second.
Bold Boss, the number 6, goes out for Greg Compton.
Does feel like the main speed in here, which could be dangerous.
Here is the favorite, She Called, for David Fox.
I mean, what version of She Called are we going to get? Like, I mean, she was game last time, but she had no speed. And other times she does have speed. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Is
How
she
they
going to show
ride her.
that speed? Is she forward today?
Yeah.
The 10 went by. That was Kiss and Cash, and Musical Prayer rounds it out. She's a player here.
She did. She is. She did take a little while to switch her leads down the lane, but once she did, she leveled off quite nicely. Baytown Butterflies in good form. She would come back and win, too.
Let's head back to the team at Oaklawn Park.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Maggie. And I think we're both seeing this race fairly similar. The one Bachelor Party, I thought she was very interesting. I mean, she's going to have to work out a trip from the inside, but her last race back in December at Remington was really good. Have you noticed any trends as far as horses coming from different jurisdictions, like who's doing well? Like, how has the Remington Park form been holding?
I mean, we saw a horse win here from, I believe it was Boyd Castor's horse that came from Remington that won here earlier in the card, but we shall see if that trend continues. They've been fine. I haven't seen an overt edge on anybody. Honestly, I've seen some horses from Fauner Park coming and running. Some of those Hawthorne, Fauner runners are actually doing some running here, but I agree with you on the number 1 Bachelor Party, who is facing winners in what I think is the perfect spot for this horse, right? I mean, gets to... unfortunately, a $32,000 tag, so could lose this horse, but tracked just off, took dirt, won in a driving fashion. Now contends with that inside draw, though. But as you mentioned, the inside's not a terrible place to be today.
I do feel like the inside has definitely had a little bit of a stronger flow, and Boyd Castor had that win earlier. He has this feeling. I think she's just well spotted, dropping to the $32,000 level off of that maiden allowance win. We'll go to the 5 horse, Promise Me an Empire. More of a closing type. She is turning back and hasn't been seen since November.
Right, and I do think she gets a little bit of speed in here, especially the filly directly to her outside, and the 6 will be sharp and speedy. She'll be able to hopefully sit that tactical position. Last time out, she was flat against just a much better field in terms of, it was at Remington, but that was an allowance type group, and the speed did well that day, but horses were coming off of it there at Remington as she was kind of closing along. Just it fell flat a little bit, but she cuts back in distance, she drops in tag. I find she's had a little bit better commodity, or a little bit better fields to face, and she's kind of a smaller made filly, but she's still robust. She definitely looks like an out-and-out sprinter when seeing her in the paddock, that compact type build for Dan Ward, who brought Majestic Oops off of a layoff. We saw her win that stake, and this horse looks ready to go off of the time away.
And again, taking a drop in crest, probably a more appropriate spot. The 6 Bold Boss, consistently show speed.
Consistently sharp, very sharp in the paddock, certainly looked like the disposition of a speed horse, and was right there despite the pace stole early at this condition last time out as she tries again. I will say last out at this level, she broke inside, tipped out, she had a good rally and was game, and then she was steadied abruptly at the 16th pole, which pretty much just zapped her run. So she was pretty unlucky to lose that day. The winner kind of cut her off there, so I'm hoping she can trip out a bit better because she had momentum, before, of course, that aforementioned trouble in the late stages of that race.
And now the 8 she called, which she is our favorite now. I don't think she started really running until she got out of the kickback last time. Alex and Joanne Leblon coming off a big win in Saudi Arabia, but I mean, she should sit a decent trip, being drawn a little bit more towards the outside.
Right, and last time out, it was like a wide bit around the turn. I'd agree with you. She just didn't look comfortable. As you mentioned, that kickback, she closed on well, but she just couldn't catch that much more forward winner there. She called exits the same race as the aforementioned Bold Boss that we just talked about, that race on January the 1st, where she did finish ahead of her in that 5-wide rally late. I decided to probably take the number 6 Bold Boss over her, but she's kind of one of those types that can kind of sit into a tactical trip. I'm hoping earlier on, as 3 and 4-year-old, she just showed so much more speed. Maybe she can get back to a bit more forward position.
I can absolutely see that. The 11 musical player moving up in class. Julie Asmussen, Steve Asmussen's wife, the owner, and of course their son Keith.
It's a family affair for this horse, breaking from the far outside, but runs protected here, which trainers often do, especially with this horse. It's coming off of a pretty stout layoff there. We last saw her on October the 9th at Keeneland, where the Baytown Butterfly, who was the victor that day, ran 4th in a stake in her next outing. So it was a strong group. She sat off the pace, had run, and just really had to work for it, kind of grudgingly along. She doesn't make it easy for her jockeys. You really have to ride this filly.
A little bit of a bicycle type horse. Keith Asmussen looking for his 2nd win of the meet. Had come off a tough injury. It'd be nice to see him get one for his mom for sure. Last race ran 108.3, the fastest 3/4 of the meet so far. Hall and Ice really put on a display. This is a nice solid group. I wound up with the 1 just because I felt like she's a little less exposed than everybody else. The whole field, nobody's won more than 1 race. Bachelor Party, 2 starts, that win. I just thought maybe she has a chance to take another step forward.
I agree with you. I thought she ran very well, and especially in her last start. And I like that they're putting her in kind of a conservative type spot. Her 2nd dam won the Grade 1 Ashland Room Service, a beautifully bred daughter of game winner, bred by Gary and Mary West, now owned by her trainer. I mean, got a massive pedigree actually on the bottom side with Ramon Vasquez, who earned his 500th career victory today.
Here at Oaklawn Park, his whole career.
His whole career, I believe.
Wow, very interesting.
I believe Oaklawn Park. Excuse me, Oaklawn Park.
Because it seems like nowadays
way more races than that in my mind, right?
Well, it just seems like nowadays a lot of milestones that weren't milestones years ago. A rider winning 500. I won my first 2,000. I couldn't tell you who my 2,000th win was. Nobody really paid attention until you started getting up to the 3,000 and 4,000 level. But it's
King
nice.
of Aqueduct.
It's nice that they keep track of these things. And I guess it's technology age, Megan. It's easier to keep track of these things than it was back in the olden days when I was riding.
Do you know what's for sure, though, Richie? Nobody will win more races than you did at Aqueduct. Ever.
Well, only because they're going to close Aqueduct before too long, and we'll get to the new, beautiful Belmont Park, and it'll be nice to get back to Belmont. But Aqueduct will always have a very, very strong place in my heart. I grew up 8 miles from Aqueduct, first place I ever went racing, and obviously had a lot of success there over the years. So it'll be bittersweet.
Yeah, for sure. But lastly, just leaving you with a little bit of an overlay, could be a part of the speed in the number 10. Kissin' Cash, who actually gets the blinkers on. I think she'll be sharp and involved in the pace early.
Okay, well, they're loading up here for race 9, the penultimate event today. Let's head up to Matt Dinnerman for the call.
She called walking forward. Chitoz's Blur, post position 4. Kissin' Cash walking up, 1 back. Musical Prayer. We're ready to go. And we're off. Bold Boss wins the start and takes advantage of it, strides in front clearly. Amelia Zecco moving up to come and challenge. Kissing Cash on the outside. Musical Prayer is farther out. Bold Boss narrow lead. Bachelor Party down on the inside, scraping paint towards the front, and there's a contentious tempo in this sprint once again today. She Called is racing in midfield, but she's only about 4 lengths behind. Chitoses Blur, Promise Me an Empire, they're next in the group. They're running together. There's a gap of 5 or 6 to Kentucky Starlet, who's well out of it as they go into the far turn. Bold Boss into the turn, narrow lead. Kissing Cash between horses. Musical Prayer is 3 wide. Bachelor Party getting a breather, is right off the top 3 and tries to get outside while producing a bid, but she's under a hard ride to do it. Bold Boss is giving way and being eased up. She Called, the favorite She Called, has been pulled up as they come to the top of the stretch. Musical Prayer off the turn, cruising up alongside and grabs the lead from the front runner Kissing Cash. Outside is Bachelor Party, and down the center Amelia Zecco's putting in a strong rally. The gray Musical Prayer on the lead with a 16th to go. Musical Prayer by 2 from Amelia Zecco, charging hard, but Musical Prayer has enough to fend her off. She will. Musical Prayer over Amelia Zecco. Third home, Promise Me an Empire, and then Kissing Cash, who was 4th.
That's a family one. That'll be good.
The 11 Musical Prayer getting it done. Keith Asmussen riding for his dad, Steve. It's 6-1, Meg.
Yeah, and Keith gets his second win of the day, as Meg and Meg were talking about earlier. So, I'm sure building his confidence back up. He needs to kind of, coming off an injury, get back to the winner's circle as soon as possible. Obviously, riding for your dad helps a bit here. But I know it got close in the end, but she never really looked like she was going to lose this race.
I agree. She looked like a winner every step of the way, Richie.
Yeah, Musical Prayer set the trip. She got to drifting guys late, but I didn't see anything that would make me believe there was any issue. But what a great thing to see Keith Asmussen win for his not only his father, which he rides for a great deal, but his mom as well. And I'm sure this is going to be a pretty jubilant winner's circle picture. I see Mom Julie all smiles down there, and here's a low angle look. And Keith's a taller rider, but he folds up nice, and it's nice to see him have some success. You got to get winning when you're coming back off injury, just to find your timing and obviously your confidence. Confidence is key, guys.
Thanks a lot, Richie. Yeah, gets it done here at very generous 6-1, and I think the cross country pick 5's over $1,000. I think it's about twice the parlay.
Yeah, 6-1 over 19-1. Very nice. No show from the favorite at all, or I believe
she was pulled up. She called.
She was pulled up, and the one who was second choice was unable to hit the board either. But keeping it all in the family here for Keith, Steve, and Julie. They will be very happy, I'm sure, in that winner's circle.
Amelia Zecco off the claim for Sean Williams. Took a step forward. Keep that in mind going forward. We'll take a break. Here's a trophy that a lot of people want to get. The Kentucky Derby trophy, and I see that Tom's throwing the hat in the ring there.
Well, you always got to be Derby dreaming.
Well, I mean, he's got a good turf horse. Why not think about synthetic and take a shot at the big money, the Jeff Ruby Stakes coming up? We'll see what happens. We'll talk about that when we come back.
A warrior from the start. He's got grit, the kind champions are made of. In his biggest battles, he showed his mettle.
Sierra Leone is plugging in. Dornock is coming back. Dornock is a Remsen.
What separates the best isn't just talent, it's meeting the moment. A will to win, to scrap, and fight like your life depends on it.
Dornock in an absolute thriller. Dornock and Mindframe. It will be Dornock to win the Belmont Stakes.
Look your rival in the eye and say, not today.
And Dornock stubborn. Dornock wins the Haskell.
A world-class athlete made for the fight. That's Dornock.
say hi to our new stallion, Highland Falls. From his winning debut to that spectacular Jockey Club Gold Cup.
It is Highland Falls. He wins another one, this time the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
Even his buyer was high. The race his sire made his own by a widening 4 lengths. A host of Grade 1 winners far behind. High and goodbye. Running a 107 when second in an All-Star Whitney. The rise and rise of Highland Falls. High class, on the track and on the page. This is his dam, winning the Acorn and then the Distaff. Aim high. Breed to a well-bred son of Curlin. Highland Falls, new to Darley.
The Belmont Stakes Racing Festival returns for the final time to historic Saratoga Racecourse. Don't miss the Belmont Festival at Saratoga. June 3rd through 7th. Secure your place in history at belmontstakes.com.
Welcome back to America's Day of the Races, as it was truly a family affair with musical player winning for Julie Asmussen, trained by Steve Asmussen, and ridden by Keith Asmussen.
Yeah, it is. And before we came back there, they were ringing the bell, so it was good to see them do that for aftercare as well.
Yep, nice exacta. Little 11-3 for 129 for a buck. And the 5 was third. Megan is standing by with Connections, a musical prayer.
Well, I just love that this filly won, not only because I picked her, but also because it's just an Asmussen family affair. We've got Steve, Keith, and Julie, who also owns this filly in her gorgeous pink coat, by the way. But, Steve, this is just, this one feels like it means more.
Oh, of course it does, absolutely. Even the filly herself is beautiful, and that's why it's Julie's horse. And then, obviously, Keith winning on her today, it makes it extremely special.
Got to know the story. How did Julie pick this one out? And that's mine.
By color. Look good in her silk. She said the white horse in her pink silks.
Well, that certainly paid off today, Keith, aboard. But, Steve, I have to talk to you, though, about a huge weekend coming up next weekend. We've got some big runners. When do you find Magnitude will come to us here at Oaklawn?
The breeze is in the morning at the fairgrounds, and I'll leave out of there early Sunday morning. Give him a few days here, but obviously very excited for his first run of the year.
Soldier and Diplomat planning on pointing to the Rebel as well?
Absolutely. Got early entry tomorrow for that, but extremely excited with how he's trained since the Southwest.
Well, this one made me happy, guys. Keith, congratulations again. You've been riding incredible off of that setback, and it's nice to see you back aboard here at Oaklawn.
Awesome. I'm excited to be here.
Andy, a family win here for Team Asmussen.
A lot of smiles in that winner's circle, and a nice win and a nice ride by Keith, getting in good position and getting it done.
I love how Julie is actually matching Keith with those silks on. That is
I think there may have been something at play there with that jacket and the silks. I
mean,
that.
She was dressed for success today.
I'm thinking I have a hunch that pink may be her favorite color. I could be wrong, but I'm taking a shot. Cross Country Pick 5, we'll take a quick look at that as we mentioned. So we got a parlay that was around 60, around 250, a little less than 3 and 7. So that's right around 2,000 for $2, and it paid $4,000 for $2. So congrats if you had it. Great value in that Cross Country Pick 5, and not a lot of big prices to get that kind of payout. And there was really a free square, essentially a Pick 4. As we come upon the last race today, and I know you have been talking to me about the last race at Oaklawn all day. You just wouldn't shut up about it. Thank God we're finally running it.
Thank God. I have a little bit of interest in Mark Kansas here / Fleetwood Jack.
Well,
Fleetwood Jack's taking money,
Fleetwood Jack?
I know, right? And Mark Kansas is not.
I still regret I had tickets to see Fleetwood Mac in 1978 in Saratoga at SPAC, and I went on a bike trip that summer, and I coordinated the bike trip. Yeah, in Canada for a month. It was great.
Well, you do ride
I used to be in good shape when I was a kid. I used to bike a lot and stuff. I was actually, believe it or not, I was the best. Not that much. I was the best cyclist on the trip, which doesn't say a lot about the others on it. And Stevie Nicks or something got sick or something happened, and they had to reschedule it. They rescheduled it during the trip. I never saw them in concert.
I would have loved to see. I mean, even just Stevie Nicks by yourself.
I agree. I think Fleetwood Mac are great. Anyway, the John Battaglia Memorial coming up this weekend at Turfway in a big field, and the Morley Wolfendale family was represented by one of your favorite horses, Atfield. Can we really get 8-1 in this horse?
Yes, he's
pretty good. He's pretty good.
He is pretty good, but there are other horses who have run some faster races, as certainly having the pace advantage. That's now the inside horse, Street Beast, which back in this, the Leonidas Stakes, he was on the far outside and he was able to clear.
Well, yeah, and now he's got the rail, so it shouldn't be a problem. He's got to get an extra 16th of a mile. He did beat Full Effort, who's the morning line favorite, but you've got 2-out Hero on the outside in here. And listen, Atfield, we'll talk about him, but he's got pedigree to be able to handle synthetic, and we'll see if Street Beast can wire him to fail. He is the morning line favorite, at 5-2.
Yes, with Full Effort on the outside coming back against him too for Brad Cox. Always going to take more money than maybe he should with Brad Cox at the helm. And the outside horse even coming in from Canada via Paul Meadows. 2-out here I thought was a little bit interesting. Ran very good races as a 2-year-old. This will be the comeback race. But yes, let's talk about Atfield. Obviously, he's a very sentimental horse in that he was named for our late assistant, John Atfield, who we lost, now it's almost a year and a half ago, November of 2024. And I mean, well done to Rainbow's End and West Paces, the partners on this horse who chose to honor John. And that day in Saratoga when he broke his maiden will go down in history as one of the most memorable days at the racetrack for me, because Donegal Momentum also won, and Donnie was John's favorite horse. And he worked with him very closely. He's the one who called us when Donnie first came into the barn in Louisiana and said, this is the real deal, Tom. So, and Atfield himself, the horse, has so much personality. He talks. He's very vocal. He obviously, a lot of horses, they call for their food in the afternoons or the mornings or whatever. But Atfield, you say, hey, and he, he answers you and stuff. So looking forward to getting his 3-year-old season underway.
And listen, we were talking about it, you and I off camera. It's a free roll. Yeah. Vacomas have been good on the synthetic. Looking up his numbers, they're very, very good.
They really can.
The first big race for 3-year-olds on the turf is the American race on Derby Day. So he's not missing anything. And you've got a big purse in the Jeff Ruby Stakes. And you take a shot to see who can handle it. If he doesn't handle it and doesn't run well, then you wait for the turf races. There's no reason not to take a shot. And I mean, I'm not just saying it. He's good. He was one of the better 3-year-old turf horse or 2-year-old turf horse in the country last year.
Oh, no. He was I don't want to say surprise, but we were surprised at how quickly he came to hand last year. We wasn't necessarily banking on him winning first time out and defeating the most talked about horse of last year at Saratoga. So the fact that he came and did that, he kind of already is proving to be a bit better than perceived.
And he didn't get lucky to beat Schwarzenegger.
He ran.
If he wasn't in there, Schwarzenegger won by 4 lengths, and they'd have been talking about him very highly. He came and got him. That was a very impressive win by him, and he backed it up in his next 2 starts. And he showed he can go long in his 3rd start. So, I think it's a good shot, and I'm certainly going to root for you guys to do well in here. And 8-1, I feel like I'm about to lose some money on him.
No, don't do that. Don't get ahead of yourself.
I lose money all the time, so I'm good with it. I find the Kentucky leaderboard after they run 150-point race to be about the silliest thing I've ever seen, because it's just going to change so dramatically. I mean, the only thing you can say is, okay, Paladin's in the Derby if he stays sound, and he's probably now a lukewarm favorite, right? I don't think he should be a heavy favorite over Renegade, who, they were so close.
I mean, I know Nearly hasn't beat that much, but I really like that horse.
I agree. I've been very impressed by him. I was talking about him a lot even before the Holy Bull. I know Todd's going to wait until the Florida Derby, and I don't blame him. He's already run 3 times at Gulfstream, and that's a lot to run at Gulfstream. But I think right now, Paladin, Renegade, and Nearly are probably the leaders right now, for whatever that means.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah.
Another horse who may be throwing his name into the Derby ring is a horse that won yesterday for Cherie DeVoe, Reagan's Honor. I mean, this was a very impressive win with a 96 buyer. And, this horse wins the front end. A lot of people talk about Fairgrounds being a speed favorite track. There were 6 dirt races yesterday, Maggie. This was the only not wire-to-wire winner.
Very impressive. And you could just tell out he came out of the gate running. Now, a 96, is that one of the faster races that a 3-year-old this year's run?
I think it's the same fig that The horse for Klarovich got at Tampa Bay. It beat that Rapoli heavily. Maybe were you not here? That
No.
I'm having
What
a
race
brain
was
freeze.
it?
On the day of the Sam Davis. Yeah, the maiden race.
Oh, right. Okay. I can't remember that horse's name, but I know.
I'm having
which
a
race you're
brain
talking
freeze
about.
on his name.
I was
it's
south
hard
of
for
the
those
border.
horses to make it, to the Derby. I was talking to Cherie earlier. It's kind of a neat story, too, because the dam was the late Jerry Moss owned the dam and gave it to David and Gordo, her husband, of course.
Oh, okay.
And he bred the horse. The sire was Honor AP, who was trained by now the late, unfortunately, John Sheriffs, who was David's stepfather, and the horse's name for his daughter, Reagan.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty cool story, and Cherie's hoping to get him to the Bluegrass. She said she'd like to give him some time, get to the Bluegrass with him, but I mean, he's going to get a lot of hype after that performance yesterday.
Absolutely. And I mean, he was coming off the back of, I thought, a pretty good maiden score as well. So, and it feels like Cherie is loaded with some really promising 3-year-olds, especially males this year. So there's a pretty strong likelihood that she does find herself in the Kentucky Derby this year.
I agree, and Cherie's always entertaining, as we know. And
Love
Emerging
Cherie.
Market, they told me, but I'd actually written it down. Emerging Market is the name of that horse. Where he goes next depends. It's a bit of a big ask to break your maiden the beginning of February. I know everybody says, well, Justify did it. Justify may end up being a unicorn.
Yeah.
And you have to be careful. You don't want to ruin a horse by deciding you're the next Justify.
No, exactly. I could not agree more. That is the fastest way to, not being successful.
Right. As I
with
said
horses.
to you, the worst thing about winning the Jeff Ruby would be you'd have to run him in the Derby when he'd be better off running in the $1 million race they have for the 3-year-olds that day. But,
and I wonder, knowing my husband, given that he's an Englishman, if he wouldn't try to at least push the owners that way.
He'd get I would agree with that. As long as he's not thinking of the English Guineas, which is also Derby Day, right?
Yes.
It is, right?
Yeah. The Epsom. No,
the
Guineas.
English Guineas.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, the
Derby
Guineas.
Day.
Yes.
Newmarket, I want to say?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. All right. A lot to talk about. Maggie and I could go on forever. The nightcap at Oaklawn coming up after a quick break.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. Nice shot of Oaklawn Park there, brought to you in part by Gainesway Farm. Power, passion, performance. Gainesway Farm, where they've been getting it done for many, many years. And we've got a decent finale coming up here, a bunch to look at, but we also have some great stakes action coming up next weekend. Rebel weekend, the Trevista on Friday, Razorback handicap, $500,000, the carousel as well on Saturday, and then of course the $1 million Rebel Stakes, the $750,000 Honeybee, the Barley Turk, and the Pig Trail, all here at Oaklawn Park. Great stakes lineup. We're gonna have some fun covering some really good races, and Magnitude going to make his return in the Razorback, Megan.
Faced a setback as he was intended to go to the Middle East off of this impressive performance in that Clark, and he just seems like one of those horses, Meg, that was on the precipice of being really strong, and this was kind of his coming out party, right? He really was able to be so game and run down this rival to his inside, and man, I'm just really excited about this older horse division this year. We've got the likes of Journalism, Sovereignty, Magnitude, so many solid horses, Nisos. I mean, we've got a really solid division of older horses, and Magnitude now set to take on the Razorback. As we just heard from his trainer, Steve Asmussen, he will work down at the fairgrounds on Saturday. Then he will ship to us at Oaklawn Park. I think this is his first effort at Oaklawn Park, but he's been ultra consistent. I'm excited to see him hopefully continue to take a step forward.
Yeah, showed a little bit of a different dimension. He seemed more of a freewheeling type, and then kind of rated just off of a horse. Showed, again, a little bit of gameness, a little bit of difference. And, we're very fortunate. We've got so many of these 3-year-olds coming back as 4-year-olds, and they should be bigger, stronger versions of themselves.
It seems that's the track that Magnitude has taken, just judging from some of the chatter down, seeing him put in work down at the fairgrounds. I'm very excited to see him take on this Razorback, as we could see him perhaps still plan on go to the Middle East off of this Razorback prep. We shall see if that plays out, but Steve's also going to be sending out Soldier and Diplomat coming out of the Southwest in the Rebel as well.
Yeah, showed a little bit of a different dimension there as well. Soldier and Diplomat kind of rating, learning a little bit of a different way of, or a different approach, if you will. But let's head back to you guys in this post-raid of the last here at Oaklawn.
Thanks, Richie. I'm a Magnitude fan. He's going to have to get a little bit faster, but I'm a fan.
Well, it's funny. In any other year when we didn't have a Sovereignty or Journalism, he may have been, one of the horses we were talking about most throughout the season. And he came back with that Clark win. And two, he kind of hinted at it in his runner-up performance in the PA Derby that he didn't have to have the leave to run effectively.
And I'm not ready to concede that, and not saying you are either, that Sovereignty is going to somehow dominate all these horses, because Journalism could improve, Baeza could improve, and I think Magnitude, you think one of the things that this hallmarks of Steve's career is getting older horses to move forward. I mean, Gunrunner was just another good horse until the end of his 3-year-old career, and then he just exploded as a 4-year-old.
And as our producer Evan reminded me of, this is the same if he runs well in the Razorback and then on to the Middle East, to Dubai, the same path that Gunrunner took.
And I wonder if the Forever Young Connections really want to go there to Dubai after he didn't run well last year.
Exactly. I mean, his trainer sounded very undecided immediately after the
I think running in both those races is not easy, as horses are getting ready for the post-parade for race number 10 at Oaklawn, where I'm surprised the 8 is 6-1, the horse you mentioned, Markensaw. That horse seems to be a bit of an overlay right now, as the heavy favorite is the 9, Willie Cuts. But a horse who's had a lot of chances is the 1, Flat Out Blessed.
He is stretching back out in distance, which, from my notes from a long time ago at Oaklawn, I do prefer him going longer. He does look pretty good there, at least on the screen.
Number 2 is Heaven's Hound.
I mean, gets Lasix, was really ill-behaved. We do see the rider, Amanda Poston, with her feet out of the irons, trying to keep him calm.
Can Because I'm Happy improve on a slight drop, number 3?
Did have a little bit of speed first time out, going shorter. Could we see some speed going longer?
Like to see those Amazing Destinies. Captain Amazing. He was a West Rock horse.
Yeah, gradual improvement through 3 starts.
Bet on Tiz stretching out as well.
Oh, this horse, as a 5-year-old, trying to get the first win, is second off that extended layoff.
Rebel Charlie is a big price. Joe Petagliano.
But is dropping down in class and does get Lasix.
Mark Kansas, who I think you like, is a bit of an overlay.
Well, I was interested in him. We'll see how he does stretching. I'm not sure about him getting the distance.
I saw him. It looks like he put on front bandages for this race, the favorite Willie
I
Cutts.
was looking down. Naturally, Willie Cutts does make a lot of sense here. Has definitely run fast enough many times to win this.
Fleetwood Jack.
That's who I really kind of like here.
Okay.
Puts the blinkers on. I just thought maybe these horses that are at shorter prices that are stretching out for the first time could be a bit vulnerable, whereas he's having his second back-to-back route.
Spooky action with Rafael Bejarano.
Another one back to a route race and dropping in class.
And on the outside, Gray Taps rounds it out for Randy Morris, stretching out in his second start.
Yeah, a horse that gets in with Archiebreds for the first time could be dangerous just with a nice little gradual progression. Ran a buyer that fits here, and Randy Morris is having a great meet so far.
Let's head back to the Meg and Mig show.
Well, it is a very competitive race. There's a lot of different ways to go. You like a long shot here, though, on the inside with the one horse, Flat Out Blessed.
I do. The Meg, and the Mag show, I think. That's what it's
well,
going to be.
Next week,
yeah,
the
it's
whole
going to be the
band
whole
together.
crew. The number one Flat Out Blessed, though. Love hearing Maggie's sentiment about this, wanting to see this horse get more ground, because I think the exact same thing. And it's always great when I agree with somebody like Maggie, of course, when seeing them, of course, back in the spring. I think this horse wants to go this mile in a 16th route of ground, as we mentioned of him, and just sharp. I really liked just this horse kind of being within himself, on his toes. Last time when I got to see him on January the 4th, it just kind of was subdued, didn't show the same zest that I saw from this horse. As he looks better off of the bench. He definitely carries that weight and condition. I think he's better for the start last time out. He's certainly a good doing 5-year-old, that's for sure.
Well, you went to the inside. I went more, well, to the middle of the field, if you will, with the 8, Markinsaw. You know, the layoff is concerning. He hasn't run since June. He's returning at a, difficult distance to go a mile and a 16th. And people remember this is race ends at the 16th pole. So, it's the short wire, if you will. Or is it? Did I make a mistake here?
Mile and a 16th. I believe the mile ends at the 16th.
I'm sorry. I'm 100%. No, it is the regular wire. So I got that wrong. But I thought this horse was interesting. I liked him getting back to Arkansas Breds. The layoff is concerning.
I agree 110%. Stretching out, drops in class here for Richard Jackson. And, he faced way back when the likes of Nikolai, who's come back to run well here, just physically maybe a touch overdone on, just judging from just his condition, seeing him in the paddock. But it's not a ton of pedigrees. There is some route, though, if you go deep enough.
And then the 9 horse is taking all the money now at 3-2 from the Jade Cunningham barn. We talked to her earlier. She's having a good meet. Horse stretching out. How do you feel about that for him? His pedigree says it should be fine.
She's been doing fantastic. I mean, 38%. 3 winners from 8 to race. We saw Jeanette earlier. I just thought this horse could be dangerous as well, just judging from just kind of showing up in those maiden special races, dropping down in class. Now getting the distance for the first time is concerning, but I think it has enough frame. I don't find this horse to be an out-and-out sprinter just looking at him.
And you get Luis Saez and the drop-in class from the maiden allowance to maiden 40. It's, certainly something that I think you have to consider. Where are we heading after that?
I think the 12 Gray Taps is taking a little bit of money there for Randy Morris. Israel Hernandez takes them out. And, this horse just did not strike me well physically. He's a big, rowdy type. I think the distance is exactly what this horse wants. Just wish he had more muscle mass behind. He's kind of deep in his barrel, and I just didn't really love what I saw from him physically. His last time out, he was really slow to roll from the gate, and you can often see that with horses that just don't really have that strength behind. Is with him, which is one of my main problems, is I just think from that outside draw, not a lot of speed. I don't find him physically. He's just going to zap out of the gate. He's just going to be trailing to me and maybe caught wide in this race.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting, and I don't like the outside draw for Gray Taps, but he did come back since his first start, and his last work before this race was out of the gate. And that's usually a sign that the trainer just wasn't satisfied with how they broke in the mornings. So maybe he's looking for him to be a little bit handier away. And from that post, he's going to need some luck to find a trip.
Right, he's definitely going to have to. But I will say this, of all the horses in terms of just their sheer size and ability to handle a mile in his 16th, he's got the bones and he's got the raw structure. We'll see if he's going to be able to carve out the right trip.
Well, you get a horse that's going to save ground from the inside. I'm going more to the middle with a horse that's coming off a layoff. I'm questioning my judgment, but I've been questioning my judgment pretty much every day here. Just not having a lot of confidence. I just don't feel like I've got a great handle on horses coming from all the different jurisdictions.
It happens, and it definitely, I thought the same thing when I first got here. It's so challenging, but it also, I feel like, brings out the best in us, you know, searching for those prices and going through every single horse just makes it even more fulfilling when you do find those winners.
Well, we got our Arkansas breds lining up here to go a mile and a 16th for a maiden claiming tag of $40,000. And I tell you, they've been a well-behaved group. Sometimes with the maiden Arkansas breds, much like years ago, the maiden New York breds, they could get a little amped up, a little bit on the wild side.
For sure, as Matt Dinnerman takes us to the final call of the day, Mig.
Yep, let's send it upstairs. Matt Dinnerman, race 10.
Spooky action coming forward. Bet on Tiz. Spooky action loads. Bet on Tiz post 5. And then to the outside, Great Taps to round out the field. Bet on Tiz goes in. Great Taps completes the line. We're ready to go in the nightcap. And they're off. Slow break from Fleetwood Jack. From post 3, because I'm happy, was prominent in the first 100 yards. We'll take back Willie Cuts, Markinsaw there together on the lead. Great Taps on the far outside as they go into the first turn run. Spooky action not far away. He's easing off the speed. He's 4th with Because I'm Happy, who's down on the inside. Rebel Charlie outside of horses today. 5 off the pace in the blue. Gap of 2 to Bet on Tiz. Captain Amazing outside of him. Heaven's Hound is 3rd last today. Clear of Flat Out Blessed, and Fleetwood Jack, the slow starter out of the gate, is last. They're rolling on the lead. Great Taps wants the front end here, but Markinsaw has none of that. Markinsaw neck in front of Great Taps. They've opened up 3 on Because I'm Happy, who runs in 3rd. Willie Cuts outside of him, nickeled along already, approaching the half-mile pole. Spooky action going okay. He's 7 behind in midfield, 2 lengths ahead of Rebel Charlie. Then comes Captain Amazing. He's sent upon going into the turn, so is Bet on Tiz. Heaven's Hound is dropping back. Flat Out Blessed towards the back of the field with Fleetwood Jack as they round the far turn. On the lead, Markinsaw, neck in front, going a little better than Great Taps, who's pushed upon hard by Israel Hernandez. Willie Cuts 3rd, trying to creep in. Here's Captain Amazing coming on at 15-1 on the grandstand side. He's motoring home, and Spooky Action is trying to follow his move right behind them. Needs to get going as they come off the turn. Markinsaw clear now. Great Taps struggling, losing position. Willie Cuts into 2nd. Markinsaw has opened up 3. Willie Cuts trying to tag him now. Willie Cuts still 3 behind Markinsaw, who comes to the 16th pole. He just keeps going under Louis Q. It's Markinsaw by 5 now. It's Louis Q in the nightcap. It's Markinsaw to win it at 6-1. Willie Cuts holds 2nd. 3rd home was Captain Amazing, and then Spooky Action, who was 4th in the finale.
Crazy price on Markinsaw to close things out today. 6-1 was generous on this horse. Been fun. Nice to see you. Nice to have you back, and a lot of fun. See you tomorrow as well. A lot of fun racing today. Hall and Ice becomes $1 million winner, so a lot of good stuff here. A nice call by Richie in the last race as well, as America's Day at the Races comes to an end. Nice performances today. We saw a very nice performance by the number 1. Graceful Rose getting it done easily in our 7th race. And of course, the newly minted Millionaire. Hall and Ice, the first Arkansas Millionaire, gets it done in the Down the Dusty Road. Thanks for joining us on America's Day at the Races. We'll see you tomorrow.
Witness history.
Sandman is getting a little bit closer with Hypnus.
Greatness.
Here comes Cole Battle and Juan Vargas rolling towards the lead.
And legends in the making.
Cole Battle, the story continues. Cole Battle does it.
Sunday, March 1st at the 2026 Rebel Stakes. Watch champions rise on the road to the Kentucky Derby and compete for a $1 million purse. It's all happening just a short drive away at Oaklawn Hot Springs. Plan your stay today and come join the fun.
Weekends are for winners at Naira Bets. Opt into the Late Pick 5 hit and split bonuses to claim your share of $5,000 every Friday through Sunday. $5,000 hit and splits every weekend when you bet with Naira Bets.
Race Lens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. Race Lens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
Next weekend on America's Day at the Races, Saturday, catch Aqueduct's Gotham, a Kentucky Derby prep, plus Lafitte Pinkai and Maggie Wolfendale live from Oaklawn Park for the Razorback Handicap.
And they're off in the Razorback.
Then Sunday, special coverage of Oaklawn's Rebel, a key Derby prep, and the Honeybee is a prep for the Kentucky Oaks. Saturday's coverage begins on Fox Business Channel, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern on FS2.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.